It is now 5:28. Microphones are on now. Microphones are being turned on.
Some Swedish fish. That's a 2-minute warning. What's that? 2-minute warning. I thought you were.
No.
I thought you were trying to get my attention. Minute and a half now. I'm saying minute and a half warning. I think I'm just talking in the air. Ready to go. Whatever. I'm just talking. I'm just talking. Fully prepared.
I am not. I got it. Thank you. We are clear. Pardon me? No, I had to look up something on our site. You did. No, I had to look up something on our site.
Happy?
It's time. We gotta get that clock fixed, Dave. It's behind Sean.
I go off the computer.
Being that it's 5:30 p.m. now, we will call the July 16th, 2024 meeting of the City Council to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk Lesko, can you please call the roll?
Will do. Alderman Redpath.
Here.
Alderman Gregory.
Here.
Alderman Williams.
Here.
Alderman Rockford. Here. Alderwoman Purchase.
Here.
Alderwoman Notriano.
Here.
Alderman Carlson.
Here.
Alderwoman Connolly.
Present.
Alderman Donlin.
Here.
Alderman Hanauer.
Here.
Mayor Busher.
Present.
Mayor Busher, a quorum is present.
Thank you, Clerk Lesko. The civility pledge: in the interest of civility, I pledge to promote civility by listening, being respectful of others, acknowledging that we are all striving to support and improve our community, and understanding that we each may have different ideas for achieving that objective. The next item on the agenda will be docket number 2024-019 for the property located at 3041 Taylor Avenue.
Mayor,
Yes, Alderman Williams.
just to save you some time, we're going to be requesting to withdraw this one, so I wanted to save you all that reading, if possible.
So we have a motion from Alderman Williams to withdraw. Can I get a second?
Second. Thank you.
Do you have something that you want to add, Alderman Gregory?
No.
No? Okay. You look like you wanted to talk, so.
Don't encourage him.
All right, so we have a motion and a second to withdraw. All those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. The item is currently withdrawn. Is that all right, Corporation Counsel? All right. The next item on the agenda is docket number 2024-021. So it looks like we didn't have a 20. The petitioner, the item is for a property located at 37 Hawthorne Lane, and the petitioner is John Fennell. The present zoning classification is R1, Single Family Residence District, Section 155.016. The requested zoning relief is a variance to the Lake Land Use Plan for Lake Springfield and its marginal properties, Appendix A, Section 3, setbacks, to allow installation of an in-ground pool to the west side of the existing house that will cross over the required 75-foot setback from the lake shoreline. The new pool will be approximately 45 feet from the shoreline at its closest point. The concrete pool apron will be approximately 41 feet, at the closest point to the shoreline, instead of the 75 feet required per code. The Springfield Sangamon County Regional Planning Staff recommendation is denial. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommendation is approval of the petition as submitted. The chair will now entertain a motion.
Madam Mayor, I wish to ask for the recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Second.
So we're going to ask for the approval of the Springfield Sangamon Planning Zoning Commission. Is that correct? Alderman
Permit is
Redpath?
submitted.
Okay.
Thank
So we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this item? Alderman Hanauer.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I think this is kind of like the signs. We seem to be getting a lot of these, and I think that we need to look at the setbacks from the lake. I think a lot of them, we see a lot of pools go in about 50 feet approximately from lake. I think we've done quite a few, and I think that we ought to, in order to help, cut down on some things on some of our zoning, this would be something we need to look at as well. As I spoke about the signs, last month, I think we ought to kind of relook at our setbacks for pools out at the lake right now, so.
We'll have
I just
Mr.
asked we
Harris
look at
follow
that.
up with City Water, Light, and Power. How's that? And report back. Is that good?
That's fine.
Thank you, sir. Alderwoman Conley.
Yeah, I just want to clarify, Alderman Redpath, just so you know, I will be voting present on this just for potential conflict with work.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other discussion?
Just clarification that we have talked about that with some of the people at CWLP. There's a lot of different things that are outdated on the plan, and we need to maybe revise that and upgrade it. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to punt that to John. He's shaking his head yes. All right, so seeing no other discussion, the voting will now be open. All those in favor, please vote yes. All those opposed, please vote no. And the motion passes with 9 voting yes and 1 voting present. The next item on the agenda is docket number 2024-027 for the property located at 1515 South 9th Street. The petitioner is MJM and Sons Trucking, LLC. The present zoning classification is B1, Highway Business Service District, Section 155.033. The requested zoning relief is reclassification to B2, General Business Service District, Section 155.034, or in the alternative, a variance in the B1 to allow for the parking, storage, and securing of large dump trucks inside when not hauling to and from job sites with no outside storage. Springfield Sangamon County Regional Planning Staff recommendation is denial as submitted, and the alternative recommends approval of the requested use variance to allow the petitioner to protect and secure large dump trucks indoors when not working, subject to the following limitations. 1, no outside storage is allowed. 2, no on-site washouts allowed. And 3, no more than 4 dump trucks allowed on-site. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommendation is approval to concur with the recommendation of the Springfield Sangamon County Regional Planning Staff recommendation. The chair will now entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second to approve the Springfield Sangamon County Regional Planning Staff recommendation, or as submitted, sorry, I have to ask.
The recommendation, I just didn't want to read all of it.
Okay, so motion to approve the Springfield Sangamon County Regional Planning Staff recommendation. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this item? Okay, seeing none, the voting will now be open. All those in favor, please vote yes. All those opposed, please vote no. And the motion passes with 10 voting yes, none voting no. The next item on the agenda is docket number 2024-028 for the property located on Palm Road, southwest corner of Chatham Interchange and I-55. Tax ID 29-10.0-100-012. The petitioner is Lakeview Acres LLC. The present zoning classification is I-1 Light Industrial District, Section 155.040. The requested zoning relief is a variance of sections 155.001, definitions lot, 155.320, permitted accessory on premises signs, 155.321, non-illuminated signs, and 155.069B3 and 4 fences, and for amendment to zoning ordinance docket number 1977-016, striking language of certain conditions in the ordinance as it pertains to the approximate 29.93 acres as legally described in the petition. The Springfield-Sangamon County Regional Planning Staff recommendation is approval. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommendation is approval to concur with the recommendation of the Springfield-Sangamon County Regional Planning Commission. Before I entertain a motion, I do want to make it noted that the requested variance of section 155.069B3 and 4 fences is a final action by the Planning and Zoning Commission pursuant to 155.215F. The chair will now entertain a motion.
Mayor, I make a motion, we accept the Springfield-Sangamon County Regional Planning Commission recommendation.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. We will now have discussion. Do any of the 10 aldermen or alderwomen have discussion before we bring up anyone from the crowd?
Yes,
Alderman Williams.
use my system.
You're good.
Do we know how they go about selecting these sites?
We can ask Matt
facility.
McLaughlin possibly to speak on that if he wants, or Val Yazel. I'm not sure which one of you want to come up. Looks like Val likes Matt coming up.
Yeah, they do a search of the property that's zoned industrial in the Springfield area that would meet their needs as far as the amount of square footage they need, how big the lots are. This particular one is 25 acres that they needed.
Okay, and we didn't have that in Ward 3 anywhere?
We looked all over town, Alderman.
Okay, well, thank you.
It's a good question, Alderman Williams. Alderman Donlin.
Mayor, my question may be premature. We were emailed, at least I was emailed earlier today, a presentation by
We'll
the
get there.
Internal Revenue Service, and I don't know if that, somebody representative, if they have a question. So.
Corporation Counsel, did you see that?
I saw, I don't believe that was the official position of the Internal Revenue Service. I have not received a correspondence from them. I know that there's an employee that has contacted us for public comment, but as far as any official communication through my office, I don't have any.
Okay, that explains, that confused me, so thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Donlin. Alderman Carlson.
Thank you, Mayor. Even though this is not in my ward, to me, this benefits all of Springfield. I've said it before, we're situated, Chicago, St. Louis, Danville, Quincy. We have a couple interstates here, railway. We're the home of state government. We have a lot of state buildings, all the state buildings that are off the tax rolls. We need to make the pie bigger. We need a little more increment. To me, we sort of start behind the 8 ball compared to Peoria, that's Caterpillar, Bloomington, Omaha State Farm. But we're the home of state government, which is great. But we need to, this is one of these projects that I'm happy to vote for. And to me, there's others, we may have other opportunities of buildings like this or warehouses or whatever this happens to be down the road. So to me, other people are looking at us and how we handle this. And to me, we need to try to make this as easy and streamlined as possible.
Thank you, Alderman. Any other discussion from the aldermen or alderwomen at the Horseshoe? Okay, the first person assigned that we need to bring up to speak is the developer. Mr. Bass, are you here? Please come on up. State your name for the record for the council, if you would, please.
Taylor Bass from Becknell Industrial, and I have handouts. Do you want me to pass them out?
Nicole or Jeanette? They'll come right up and get them from you, and they'll hand them out.
Thank you.
While she's passing those out, I'll get started here. I'll try to keep my presentation short. I just wanted to take a minute to introduce myself and also Becknell. So we're based in Chicago and also in Indianapolis. We focus primarily on industrial real estate. We build across the country. And we've got about 24 million square feet in our portfolio at the current moment. We take pride in having a really high occupancy rate. We're just over 98%. And I just want to go through sort of high level, like what's happening in terms of the site plan. And this is what's shown on the screen here. Thank you for passing those out. We're showing about a 225,000 foot building here. It's at the interchange of 55 and Palm Road with trailer parking, box truck parking, and then we've got a berm there on the west and also a berm there on the east to help shield and just help with sound. And then we've got some proposed elevations here. These are not final by any means, just for illustrative purposes. And we're showing about a 45 tall building, which equates to about a 36-foot clear height inside, which is pretty common today in modern industrial building standards. The variance requests that we're asking for are related to the secondary use, adding signage in addition to the billboards, changing from an 8-foot to a 10-foot fence. And then also there was this 1977 ordinance that was attached to this property back when Armbruster's was built. And so we'd like to omit that 35-foot building height, which is fairly restrictive. And then also the usage, the ratio, and then again, just the flexibility to put signage on this site, monument, directional, et cetera. So those are the two sets of variances that we're asking for here. We're really just trying to activate this property. We're trying to bring the current code up to modern building standards. We're happy to make this investment in the city of Springfield. We think that's great. We're going to use a lot of local consultants, primarily for civil engineering and for traffic. We'll clearly be hiring a lot of subcontractors too in the local market for this. So that's sort of the high level there. And that's it.
Thank you, sir. Do any aldermen or alderwomen have questions? Alderman Donlin.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor, and thank you for being here this evening, and thank you for your interest in the Springfield area. This is wonderful.
Yeah.
You mentioned construction jobs, and do you have an estimate of how many construction-type jobs will be generated from this project?
I don't, but just
a ballpark.
Just based on what we've experienced in other projects, probably at peak, 150 to 200 jobs.
And how many end jobs once the facility's up and running? And
So that I don't know. We're still waiting for our end user to put those numbers together.
I figured that'd be the answer, but I thought I had to try. But
I wish I had a better answer for that.
Needless to say, it's over 100.
Hopefully, yeah.
Okay.
We'll see.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Alderman Williams.
Yes, so just to piggyback off of what Alderman Donlin, so the workforce that would work at this facility, they would be what any citizen or any type of people, young, old, what type of level of employees would they be?
I would assume everyone you just described,
Okay,
but
so they don't have to.
I can't speak to their hiring practices.
They don't have to have a
I
college
don't know.
degree, is what I'm getting at. They would not have to have higher education.
I'm just putting the pieces together, but yeah, I wouldn't think they would.
Okay, so this goes back to my location piece, which is done, trying to build something close to where the people who's going to work there will be able to get to it, is what I'm at. Often, I like the project. I'm glad it's coming. It is jobs, but I just think there should have been some thought to the people who would probably do the work there, as well as the transportation needs that they may have to get there. Because this location, again, the expert has said, there's none in my ward that, the jury's out on that. I'm going to be looking and driving around, but just so that I know in the future. But I just needed to know about that workforce and how that would look, but you pretty much don't know right now.
I don't know the answer to that, but maybe in the future we'll do a building in your ward. How about that?
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Do that.
Any other aldermen or alderwomen have questions for Mr. Bass? I see none. Thank you, sir, for your
All
time.
right. Thank you.
The next person signed up to speak on this matter is Melissa Smith.
Good evening, everyone. I apologize, Corporation Counsel, that email came from me. I do work for them, but this is not an official word or information regarding the Internal Revenue Service. I live right next to this potential location. I believe, as was already said, you guys were given a PowerPoint presentation earlier today. For them? No. Okay, sorry. So I just want to, we are in, the majority of this room, we are in opposition of this project. We are not in opposition of small business. We are not in opposition of light industrial. We are in opposition of the variances and the requests for the changes to the area. The first 5 that I want to address are the fences, the commercial building height, the ratio of property, excuse me, and the signage. Did anyone at zoning ask, it was not in the minutes, why do they need a razor wire and a higher fence?
Homeland Security.
Has any security?
Homeland Security. Homeland Security is designated that food operating distribution centers need to have a higher security because they're worried about people poisoning our food.
Okay, so it is a food industry potential.
Well, if it is, that's it. I really don't know what it is.
Okay, so we've got a zoning permit to have a barbed wire fence higher, or have a fence with barbed razor wire higher, but we do not know who this leaseor is going to be for sure. Number 1 point. Second point, on the 3rd page, so this is a picture of one of Becknell's buildings off of their website from West Chicago. It's almost the same acreage and square footage as this proposed building. This is superimposed to be approximate views. I am literally standing at Lakewood Drive, where you would be, where the main four-way would be. I am standing in front of the Lake Springfield Marina sign. This is how close this building will be. On the next page, you'll see, page 4 is a picture standing on the I-55 bridge. You will notice trees, the small one-story Armbruster building, and then this very large building. And on this piece of property, there is an additional 25 acres only left for building. This is a small, kind of weird, oval shape piece of property that is there, that divides the Interstate 55 and Historic Route 66 Palm Road, for those who did not know, that is part of Historic Route 66. And so approving this and bringing this larger building and these razor wires, it's going to be an eyesore. This is the entrance to Springfield. This is the Chatham exit. And to address Alderman Williams, your point, there is no public transportation to this area. None. Okay? Next, we will move on to, I want to correct on page 2 of the recap, paragraph 1, the last 2 sentences. The subject property is immediately adjacent to the interstate exchange and across a 4-lane highway and an I-55 from the nearest residential area. I would like you to notice in your colored picture there, Palm Road, yes, is a 4-lane road, but it is approximately 100 feet from the non-ditch part on the east to the west. So we're not talking a large, with a large, the intersection between the north and southbound lanes, 41 feet. And you can also see how close it is to our houses. And the green areas is the agriculture, the rest is the residential area. I'm getting short, okay. So I'm gonna hit the high point right here. This is very alarming about striking the ordinance, the amendment for the zoning document 1977-016 regarding the dust, nuisance, noise. Why? Why are they concerned about this? Are they going to be raising dust? I mean, we did just have a major dust storm 1 year ago that killed many people just south of us. We are a dust area. So why does Becknell and/or the leaseor want to be exempt for that? I've also listed the nuisances, but I would like to quickly go to page 10. Our bus routes use Lakewood Drive. 8 to 10 buses at Glenwood Intermediate are parked at Glenwood Intermediate that use that road every single day between the hours of 5:30 a.m., 8:30 a.m., 1:30 p.m., and 4 p.m. They use Lakewood Drive to turn left to go pick up the Springfield students and to go to Ball Elementary School. 8 to 10 buses, multiple trips, because the bus barn is right down there, is right just to the southwest. Excuse me, I just wanted to say one more thing. Along with the nuisance for the buses, the traffic, everything, it's a safety hazard. You're going to have potentially semi-trucks and box trucks pulling out at Lakewood Drive onto Palm, and you've got buses trying to cross. You've got 4 lanes of traffic running at 50 to 55 miles per hour. You've got acceleration and deceleration lanes, and if you have more than 1 truck or 2 trucks, those are going to be backing up onto Palm Road. Now, if you don't see that as a nuisance or a safety issue, I don't know what else there is. We are a small community out there. It's a little pie hole development, and that's where we're at. I just have one last thing to say, because I know I'm over my time. Thank you for your time. The classification is, for the 1970 zoning, is what was best for the public interest and not solely in the interest of the petitioner. Bring a business that will comply with the current zoning. The classification designed to make the hardships and inconveniences to the surrounding landowners more tolerable. Removing these classifications would cause hardship and inconvenience to the surrounding landowners and users of Palm Roads. A yes vote to these changes says the quality of life of the residents of Springfield, Sangamon County, landowners, and school children are not as important as a warehouse and distribution center. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Start the clock.
We don't want it. No, we don't.
I announced Fred O'Connor. I'm not sure if you heard me, Mr. O'Connor, if you're here.
Mayor, I would like to speak, but could I speak last? I think we asked about the speakers.
We have one other person signed up to speak. That would be Brad Metzger.
Thank you. I'm Brad Metzger. I've been a resident of the Lakeview Estates neighborhood for the past 17 years, and here today I'm urge you not to pass the amendment for the construction of the distribution center between the proposed site. The amendment would allow for these tall buildings, 10-foot fences, in more than one business in a single building. This would be an eyesore and distract from the aesthetic appeal of our neighborhoods. We like our neighborhoods. It's very quiet. We don't have any noises that we have that this would bring. I'm really having a tough time trying to understand why this would be a good spot versus 2 miles down the road where you have enough lanes there, you have enough spots that the trucks could pull in, pull out. There's a truck stop there. I'd love to know why the developer chose this spot versus a small little area versus down at Toronto Road. There's a truck stop there. All of the, there's no houses there. On both sides of where these trucks would come in and Jake break, there is houses that are probably within 50 feet of that. And then across the way right there at Palm Road, where our neighborhood sits, there is basically zero space there. All of our houses back right up to Palm Road. And, you know, just an example of what happened, they came through and they took some tree line out just to thin it out like they normally do every so often. It made it so much louder in the neighborhood. It was unbelievable. And everybody's like, oh man, you know, it happens, but that's just part of what they do. But now they're talking about putting this in, and it's just not going to be good for our neighborhood. You have the Lake Marina there. You have all the school buses that are come through there. And this morning, it was kind of comical. There happened to be a semi, and I've never seen a semi when I pull out in the morning. That semi was very loud and very slow to get going on that highway. That is going to take that traffic and is going to make it so much slower for all of us trying to get on and off those off ramps. The only semi we ever see currently is the one that comes from Land of Lincoln for the training. And even when we see that one, it's like, oh, we're behind this guy, and it's just taking forever him to turn left or turn right or whatever he's going to do. It's going to change the dynamic of our entire neighborhood. We live there because it's quiet. It's just so, there's so many other better areas. I wish that we could, help them come up with a better spot than what we have here, because this is not a good spot. The safety aspect of people pulling in and out is, it should be highly considered. This is in a residential neighborhood. No other distribution centers are in the middle of a neighborhood. Just because, look around there. I urge you all to get on your computers and look at this spot and see all the houses around it. Look at other distribution centers. There's no houses there. That's just not where you put it. There's none. I'm sure there's some, but it's not ideal. And you talk about putting up these noise berms. Well, they're just getting rid of dirt that they have to put the retention ponds on. It makes it easier for them just to put a berm there, and it's where they stack it up when they build their retention ponds. That's just what they do. I work in Decatur. They build these 600,000 square foot places all the time. And guess what? They're all in areas where they already have those. So the interchange out on the north side, that would be a much better area. There's already warehouses like that. Why does it need to be here? There's plenty of areas. Just because it fits their exact square footage, we shouldn't be changing the laws in order to, or the variances for that, just because it fits their perfect narrative. So I would urge you to think about that and let them look a little harder before you make your minds up for the rest of our community.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Mr. O'Connor, do you want to come to the microphone now?
They've just about taken all the wind out of my sails. And some of these things I'm not going to cover. But the reality of this issue is if this project gets okayed, it will affect especially Ward 1 district. They will be impacted severely. Home values in this area will plummet. The further away you go, of course, it won't hurt as much, but the home values in this area are going to be affected greatly. These people who live here are basically middle-class, hardworking people who are trying to keep their lawns nice, wash their windows, do all of the things they need to do. We're coming up with a situation where if it happens, travel, my understanding of a exchange is for people to get on, go their way to a hospital, a doctor, a grocery store, another town, another highway, and move on. But that's not the case here. If this happens, people are going to be impacted by slow traffic. Could you imagine this small area having another 4 traffic lights with semis in the middle of them? It's ludicrous to even think about it. They could go to another area. They could move from this area. You don't build on an exchange. You build somewhere near an exchange. But they want to move right on an exchange with homes on both sides of where they wanted to build. But this decision is in your hands, all of you. And we all know that you're under a lot of pressure. We don't have any attorneys. Who you're speaking to are the people who live there. We don't have someone coming up here and preaching to you and telling you what you should do. These are our neighbors. I had someone say that the aldermen, men and women who do not live in this area, probably don't care. Personally, I disagree with that. Because they do not get elected by not caring about the people as citizens of Springfield. They know it is a sworn duty to be influenced by someone from out of state who doesn't care about people, only the bottom line. And I would like to ask each of the aldermen, I don't expect them to answer me, but I want to ask Mr. Redpath, Gregory, Williams, Rockford, all of you, one question. Would you want this in your neighborhood? I don't think you would. Most of these people here are speaking to you with their mouths, but they're really speaking to you from their hearts, because this is our neighborhood. We don't come here for a berm or a fence. It's our neighborhood that we're trying to save. And I would appreciate all of you folks to consider voting no on this issue. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Alderman Rockford, you signed up to speak?
I did. Yeah, I appreciate you, all you folks being here. This is kind of near and dear to my heart. You know, for many years I worked with you guys, plowing snow and fixing roads and you know, I know when there's fireworks at the marina, the mess that happens out there in your neighborhood, the parking, where they want to park. It's like a pop-up block party, people parking where they want and getting over, you know, and that was kind of jammed down everybody's throats. You know, Alderman Redpath, I'm all for jobs. I'm all for this distribution center, whatever it's going to be. I just wish there was more discussion on some of these issues that you folks have. You know, I live over by Lanford High School. You'd be shocked at how many semis come up and down our streets. You know, so it's almost like it's in my neighborhood, but I truly believe this will impact your neighborhoods. There's going to be a ton of studies. I don't know how you have a hard time now with traffic. I don't know how you're going to put up with the more semis and more trucks and buses and, you know, but like I said, I feel for you. You know, I'm for jobs. You know, I think I wish there was more discussion. But I appreciate everybody coming up and making their comments, and I understand. Thank you.
Any other discussion from any aldermen or alderwomen? Okay. Seeing none, the voting will now be open. All those in favor of the motion, please vote yes. All those opposed, please vote no.
Hold on, I hit the wrong button. Cleared my screen. Oh, yeah. Cleared my screen.
Did we lose Alderman Gregory?
Yeah, he had a need one emergency.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you. And it's okay. I didn't want to wait. So thank you, sir. So the motion.
I'm a yes. I couldn't.
Can't get it to click.
I got knocked out of e-vote and I can't bring it back up. I don't know
Nicole will fix you. I have faith. So the motion will then pass with 6 voting yes, 3 voting no, and 1 absent now. And let the record show that Alderman Gregory had to leave, so he won't be voting any further. The next item on the agenda is docket number 2024-029 for the property located at 2401 West Jefferson Street. The Petitioner is Memorial Health Systems. The present zoning classification is R5B, General Residence and Office District, Section 155.021. The requested zoning relief is a variance of Sections 155.311B, non-illuminated nameplates and identification signs, 155.314, illuminated signs, and 155.315A, B, and C, residential and office district sign conformance. The Springfield Sangamon County Regional Planning Staff recommendation is approval. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommendation is approve the recommendation of the Springfield Sangamon County Regional Planning Commission. The chair will now entertain a motion.
Mayor, I make a motion to approve and accept the Planning and Zoning Commission recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the Planning and Zoning recommendation. Are there any aldermen or alderwomen that wish to speak to this subject? Seeing none, the voting will now be open. All those in favor, please vote yes. All those opposed, please vote no. And the motion passes with 9 voting yes and 1 absent. That concludes our zoning portion of our meeting tonight. The chair will now recognize Treasurer Redpath Fager for the presentation of the financial report.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Treasurer's report for the corporate fund for the month of June. Beginning balance is $57,219,417. We took in total receipts of $21,535,786. We had total disbursements in the month of June totaling $27,359,576, which left the corporate fund ending balance in the month of June at $51,395,627. The ending general fund balance includes $13,890,792, which is the ending June balance for the ARPA money. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Treasurer. The chair will now entertain a motion to approve the financial report.
I do have a question.
Alderman Hanauer, sorry, I didn't see you sign up to speak. My apologies.
I appreciate the report. One of the questions I have is, if we have things that are already, how much do we have in ARPA that we've already got obligated? Because if we have it obligated, what I would rather see is if there's a way we can shift that off to the side so that we know what's left.
I will let the budget director answer your
And
question.
I'm just throwing that out there.
Sure, I can provide that, monthly.
I don't care if it's monthly or quarterly. I think we need to know what's obligated and, more what we have available, so that if we do have projects that come up that are ARPA.
I think it's all budgeted.
It's all budgeted.
Yeah, I think that's what I think, so.
It is all budgeted. It's just the expenditures do not have to be complete until 2026.
Right.
They have to be, paid by 2026, obligated by the end of December this year.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other aldermen or alderwomen have questions? Okay. Motion to approve the financial report. Can I get one?
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? We have that done. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Nay. Motion carries. The chair will now recognize the OBM Director Metzger for any questions on the OBM contract report. Does anyone have any questions on that was sent out? Seeing none, no one signed up to speak. We will move on. The chair will now entertain a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes of the July 2nd, 2024 regular city council meeting and approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Chair will now entertain a motion to incorporate the pre-council first reading of ordinances into the record of this council meeting.
So moved, Mayor.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The motion carries. The next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. The chair will now entertain a motion to incorporate the pre-council reading of the consent agenda into the record of this council meeting.
So moved.
Second.
I would like to,
Alderman
I would like,
Williams.
if I could please, move 2024-268 to debate or discussion. You know, I've been doing some reading and I have some questions before we approve it.
Is that on the
On the-
first
it's-
reading?
It's in the consent agenda already.
Oh, on the consent agenda?
Yeah. So I want to take it out before we put the consent on final.
Pull that up.
One, Roy?
He says,
2024
you want to put it on
268.
debate, or are you going to move it to debate then?
Yeah,
2024
debate, yeah.
268? Is that what you're saying? Okay.
So we'll have a chance to do some discussion, please.
So I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Alderman Reckford. Then any discussion on bringing 2024-268 and putting it on the debate agenda? Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Thanks, Alderwoman.
Nay.
So we will now bring the consent agenda into the record. Well,
The motion with the one removed.
that's what I'm trying to get there.
Okay.
I'm trying to.
Trying to help you.
All right. So now we are going to try to take the consent agenda minus 2024-268 into the pre-council reading of the consent agenda. So we have a motion for that.
Second, first.
Second, first, second.
Second,
This is a
first.
fun day today.
You know what,
Any
man.
discussion on that
Hey.
now? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Or
I think we've never
Aye.
had a meeting before.
those opposed, nay. Motion carries. The chair will now entertain a motion to place the consent agenda minus 2024-268 on final passage.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. So agenda items 2024-089, 2024-178, and 2024-239 remain
We need to,
tabled. or-
we need
have
to
to have a
vote on
hard
that?
vote on
We
the
need to do
consent
a
agenda.
manual vote on that?
Oh, I get, yes, I guess so. My script was wrong. I apologize. So to put the consent agenda on final passage minus 2024-268, those in favor, please vote yes. Those opposed, please vote no.
That's a yes.
And that, okay, that motion carries 9 voting yes, 1 absent. Item numbers 089, 178, 239, does anybody have anything that they need to bring out to put on debate on those? Seeing none, we will move forward. I would like to ask if we could go out of order to bring up item number 2024-260 first, if anyone would mind doing that with me, just because we have a presentation on that.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, so we have a motion from Alderwoman Conley to bring out 2024-260 and a second from Alderman Donlin. So we're going to bring that up now, and Ryan McCready is here from the Growth Alliance to do a little presentation for you as far as, I think he emailed that, but I'll let him talk on that.
Thank you, Mayor Busher and City Council. My name is Ryan McCready. I'm President and CEO of the Springfield Sangamon Growth Alliance. And your ordinance tonight is considering continuing funding for the Springfield Sangamon Growth Alliance in the amount that the city has done in previous years of $250,000 a year. First, I want to say thank you for the past support of the Growth Alliance. Growth Alliance has been around now about 6 years. And the things that we have been able to accomplish as a community, working together with the city and the Growth Alliance, is due to that consistent support that we've received from the city. And I have no doubt we wouldn't have been as successful if absent that. So I appreciate that, that past support. I did send you via an email an annual update on some of our activities and projects that we're working on with the city of Springfield. Also, I sent you a copy of our most recent financial statements and our year-end review. If it's okay, I can just walk through that report at a high level and then be more than happy to answer any questions that you might have. First, our audit was complete, presented to our board last Thursday afternoon. It was a clean audit. We have our financial statements audited on an annual basis by Sikich. Our contract accountant is KEB. And we do an inside accounting work also, but all those things are audited, and we do place that audit on file with the city through Mayor Busher being on our board of directors. Under the area of regional economic development, this is something that I was able to spur back in 2015 in my previous role in Decatur was getting the major metropolitan areas in the central part of Illinois to collaborate and try to grow the size of the pie across all of central Illinois, as opposed to having a situation where we're competing with our neighboring communities, whether that's Decatur, Champaign, Bloomington Normal, Peoria, and other places. So the idea is how do we attract more economic growth to the region? You probably know people just like I do that might live in Springfield. One of the wage earners may work in Springfield, and one of the wage earners may very likely work in one of those other communities. And so we see it every single day, the importance of growing the region. The other thing it helps us with, and when you had some questions today about site selection and how it works, site selectors like to come to regions where they feel like they're going to get the support of the region. They know they're going to pick one place, and they're going to make that community the most happy about the business being there. They understand that. But they also know that they can access a regional workforce if they have a region of communities that want to collaborate and grow the overall economy. So it's very helpful for them to see that collaboration going forward. In fact, this year we attended the largest assembly of site selectors ever. Site selector consultants are the consultants that companies hire when they look for sites, very similar to the project that you just voted on Palm Road. Most companies hire a consultant to do that, work for them, because they like to have that anonymity. They don't want their competitors to know what they're doing, and they don't like people like me bugging them all the time to come to the community. So it provides that layer of expertise in there too. Those consultants are prime targets for us to get to know, because we get to know them and we get to work with the entire client base. The state of Illinois and Intersect Illinois have both really gotten engaged in this regional economic development. This year they hosted a dinner at one of these conferences where we had a number of site selectors show up, and we got to have one-on-one conversations with them over dinner, made a presentation about our communities, all those types of things. And so they could see all the folks around the table and know Central Illinois is a viable place to locate and to bring their business. So regional economic development is something that we work very, very hard on, and working closely with our neighboring communities. When there's a site search for a facility like the warehouse you just voted on, we know all the communities are going to submit their best sites and put their best foot forward. But we're not going to talk bad about another community just to try to make ours look good. We're going to lead with the positive aspects that exist. Another effort that we focus on is job retention and creation. The latest statistics that we had at the end of 2023 shows that your workforce in your community is active and responding well to job opportunities. We continue to see growth in the number of employed people, up 2,700 from before the pandemic, and up 1,700 more than we had the previous year. That's a measurement of the number of people actually working in the community. So that's a very, very good sign that the workforce here is engaged and they're going back to work after the pandemic. We also closely watch the average hourly wage at private employers. That's a measurement of, are we not only growing jobs, but are we also growing wealth for the people that live in the community? Because that wealth ends up getting spent back at other businesses. That wage remained pretty flat from the previous year at about $31 an hour. Although it was flat, it is kind of good news because it jumped $5 an hour since the pandemic on an hourly basis. So we saw a rapid increase of that. It's a very competitive hourly wage average compared to other places. It creates money for people to be able to spend, but we also don't want to see that continue to go up rapidly because it creates what is commonly called a wage price spiral. People make more money, they spend more, it causes the prices to go up, so then they have to get paid more. And so a steady growth of that is really good. That's what we hope to see going forward. But there was a big adjustment in that average hourly wage during the pandemic. One of the things that's also often overlooked in economic development is business retention and expansion. And that is going out to the businesses that are in your community today, meeting with them, finding out what we can do. The first thing you tell them is, we're glad you're here, that we're glad you're in our community. We appreciate your investment. We appreciate you employing our people. What can we do to help keep you here? And is there an opportunity to grow what you're doing in our community? And the private industry, you know that it's easier or better to grow a customer than it is to try to get a new one. It's the same way in economic development. So we meet every year with over 100 local businesses to check in with them and see how things are going. Those businesses are in sizes of sole proprietors all the way up to our largest employers in the community. We meet with them across the board. And we get information. We find out things that are going on with them. We connect them with resources they might need to solve problems, whether that's with the city or other entities. And they appreciate that support. I feel like they're in a community that wants them to be here. It's a very, very good way to grow your economy. Typically, if you are able to expand a business in your community, that is the best economic return because you're not usually building a new road, running a new water line, a new sewer line, or having to, extend public monies to bring that business to town. So you get that full return on that type of growth. And so that's a big focus of what we do at the Growth Alliance. We work very closely with Mayor Busher, Director Yazel, Matt McLaughlin, who's your project manager, on a regular basis to make sure we are working together. Val and I meet officially at least once a month. We talk probably about every other day about things that are going on, but officially meet once a month. We also meet with Director Yazel, Matt McLaughlin, and then the Springfield-Sangamon County Regional Planning Commission on a monthly basis too, to make sure we all know what we're working on, make sure we're pushing things in the right direction. And I'm excited to have those meetings and work well. During the transition to Director Yazel's leadership and Mayor Busher taking office, the Growth Alliance was able to help provide some support for a couple of initiatives in OPED that allowed Director Yazel to be able to get her staff up and to be able to do the work that they need to do. She's assembled an outstanding team of professionals, and we greatly enjoy working with them. We have full confidence in their abilities and what they're doing, and we're there to support them however we can. But we're very happy to see Director Yazel able to assemble that team and do the work that they do so well. One of the other projects we worked on is the Shield Sports Complex at Legacy Point. I know you're very well aware of that. Due to actions by Mayor Busher and the City Council, we had a groundbreaking back in September. There's a significant amount of work going on at that site. You took a number of additional votes to get the money flowing for the project also. And as the weather allows, rain makes it tough to do a lot of dirt work. I do want to say one thing of note. That's a big project, and it's an expensive project. Probably 80 to 85% of the money spent on construction is going to be at the surface level or below. So I think we're all anxious to see vertical construction at the sports complex. But building a sports complex doesn't generate a lot of vertical construction. We figure the turf, the underground work, the miles of all those things that have to be laid out. And that's why the developer is doing monthly videos to kind of update what's going on out at the site. Those are your local union laborers and tradespeople working at that project. They have a project labor agreement doing that work. There's a new hotel that's under construction at the site, and the developer has been very successful in gaining other interest for development at the Legacy Point development. So we're excited to go forward, and we appreciate what all of you did to bring that project to the point where we were able to have that groundbreaking and move it forward. We're also closely involved in the Pillsbury Mills redevelopment. I sit on the board of Moving Pillsbury Forward. We meet weekly on that. They have been successful in securing a number of sources of state and federal funding, but also in securing funding from the city of Springfield. Mayor Busher and Director Yazel have been working closely with Moving Pillsbury Forward to get the city money flowing to them to allow them to do the work. Based on the amount of money they've assembled from state and federal resources and with the city's financial support, we do expect that there'll be major demolition at that site this fall. They have assembled enough money to be able to take down all of the structures, to remove the asbestos paint on the outside of the silos, and the last remaining bit of funding they need is to actually take the silos down. And hopefully we can achieve that money to do that. But you're going to see some big changes at Pillsbury this fall. Right now, the funding's lining up. There's a few more dominoes that are lining up involving historic preservations and environmental reviews that have to happen before you can release some of the state and federal funding. Those are lining up, and we're working on getting those done. But we should be moving into a good opportunity there to clean that site up. I continue to get interest from developers for developing business opportunities on that site. Whatever ends up going there has to be done carefully with the neighborhood around the area to make sure they're accepting of it and it works well with them, it works well with the business. So there'll be a whole lot of conversations on this going forward. But I'm really excited to see what has accomplished, and I want to thank you for your support too, because you provided critical funding for that project also. Downtown Medical District Master Plan is a project we're continuing to work on. The Mayor Busher and Director Easel are in the process of reviewing that master plan now. And so we're working with them to help answer any questions about that. Plans are something that I think a lot of us wonder if we should spend that money on planning or not, but it's very helpful for attracting development, because it's something you can take to a developer and say, the community has worked on this together. These are the kind of things and activities they hope to see in an area. In my career of doing this type of work, those plans have been very valuable on achieving eventual development. The Growth Alliance was happy to work with the OPED office on the Recompete grant. That's a grant to help developing the strategies to bringing together all the workforce tools that exist and making sure individuals in disparately impacted communities know about those tools. And that work is undergoing right now. Project manager has been assigned to that also in OPED, and we've met with them, and that is moving forward. Over the last summer, we held Leveraging the Library sessions, where we had businesses come in and learn about the tools at Lincoln Library that exist to support businesses. And it was an opportunity for us to tell businesses. Sometimes a business will call us and ask us for data and market research, and we literally pull our library card out, access the database at the library online, and help provide them that information. That's how valuable those tools are that you have at Lincoln Library. And so I felt like, let's just get the businesses in there right now. You have great staff at the library. Let's bring them together. And we had a really great turnout. We had the Lunch and Learns over the summer where they went over all the databases and taught them how to use it. They were very good sessions. So Lincoln Library is a great asset, and if you own a business in this community, make sure you check it out for those resources. We're also assisting the city with the MacArthur Boulevard redesign that's going on. We regularly attend the MacArthur Boulevard Association meetings, working with the city staff also on meeting with those businesses that are going to be impacted, providing them some data and market research information to help them figure out what their business is going to look like, where their customers are coming from, all those types of things. That's going to be another good project, but you want to make sure that we're working with the businesses that are impacted so we can retain them here. We work closely every year with the Chamber of Commerce to do a Washington, D.C. advocacy trip. Mayor Busher has been on the last two. We didn't do those for a few years because of COVID. We couldn't go out and meet with our federal elected officials there. We started those back up in 2023. Those trips are very important to show. The first most important thing is we get to thank our federal officials for the support they've already provided us. It's an also opportunity to talk to them about additional projects and requests that we have. And we've had great feedback from those trips. We provided support for the CAP 1908 project through the Springfield project in a number of different ways over its time. We continue to support them. Having services located in census tracts where we know the data shows that individuals are disparately impacted is very important. It's exciting to see the Small Business Development Center have counselors there at the site, and so we will continue to work to support them in the city based on what they need. We held talking talent sessions for HR professionals who we want to make sure they know about all the workforce tools and training tools that exist. We're supporting the Loss on Madison project also. We assisted with expansion of the enterprise zone for that project. The finalization of that expansion is awaiting some additional commitments from the developer to make sure that that project's moving forward. We don't want to allocate that land in the enterprise zone. We want to make sure that that project's going to happen, and the timing on that is important. We are financial supporters and also staff supporters of UIS Innovation Center in downtown Springfield, and we've also are providing support for this Edge Tech Rapid Prototyping Lab that's going to be starting in August. This is a place where individuals that want to manufacture a product, create something, a physical piece of something, can actually prototype that at this laboratory using 3D printers and other designing software. And our hope is that eventually they will design something that they need a factory to build, and we'll keep them here in our community doing that. So it's exciting to be part of that. The team, two individuals from the Growth Alliance attended the Midwest Japan Conference in Tokyo in September of last year. That was a very important opportunity. Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton I took the opportunity at the Midwest Japan Conference to highlight women leadership across the state, but also in economic development. They sent me an email about going to the Midwest Japan Conference. I wasn't the right person to go, but Shelley Tulo and Abby Powell from our staff were able to travel to Japan. This is an annual conference that's held to bring together businesses and governments in Japan with businesses and governments in the Midwest to work on trade opportunities. That's what it's all about. One year it's hosted in the United States, the next year it's hosted in Japan. And the Growth Alliance was the only economic development organization on that trip. And we were there with Director Kristen Richards, Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton, and other individuals from the state. So it was a great opportunity to sell Springfield to Japanese companies that may be looking to do foreign direct investment or set up operations in our community. We also had produced an Emmy-nominated documentary. You may have heard about the documentary about the restoration of the old state capitol. That was nominated for an Emmy. We didn't win, but like they say at the Emmys, it's just an honor to be nominated. That's what I was told to say if asked about it, but we were nominated for an Emmy. PBS actually picked up this documentary and showed it over President's Day weekend across their network. And we have been shocked at the number of views and responses we get from that. But that was another opportunity to highlight the community. And then talking a little bit about site readiness, you had some questions about site searches with the previous vote that you took. Site searches are really unique. If you've seen one, you've seen one. What typically happens is a site selector will reach out. Many times it's to the Growth Alliance, it may be directly to the city, and they say, I need a site that's this many acres, zoned industrial, I need this many megawatts of power, this many gallons of water, this many, sewer access, I need to be X number of miles from an interstate interchange. We take all that information, but the one thing you have to remember about site selection is we have to have willing property owners that want to sell sites. So if you're driving around the community and you see sites that look like they'd be great places, they may be a great place, but the property owner, it has to be for sale for us to be able to market it and to be able to submit the site. We have a database of sites, but we also email out to property owners, brokers, other interested parties, the site search and say, send us everything that you have. Typically, we'll get a number of sites sent back. We send that to the site selection consultant. They will narrow that down, typically, look at a few of them, maybe come to town, drive a few of the sites. They may option a few sites in the process. Eventually, they make a selection themselves at the end of it. Just because they don't pick a site doesn't mean any of those sites are bad. It just means their client has a reason for choosing a site. And I can tell you, for the warehouse site search, we had sites all over the city that we submitted. There are good development sites in every ward, I feel comfortable saying. And we will continue to market those. But we also have to work closely with property owners. And so this is what we call site readiness, is us developing deep relationships with property owners, helping them get their sites ready to sell. Doesn't mean they can't keep farming them, but we assemble all the information they need. Site surveys, where are the utilities? What kind of utilities can be accessed? All these types of things, develop this information so when we get a call from the site selection consultant, we can respond because we might get 48 to 72 hours to respond to these searches. That's all we get. So we don't have time to go out and develop the relationship. We have to do that ahead of time. And over the last year, we have been very successful at getting to know a number of large property owners who are now working with us on site readiness, and that's going to help us continue to be competitive for site searches. I'm sure you've seen all of our marketing materials through Thrive and SPI. We refreshed that brand last year, so the commercials are refreshed, whether they're radio or television, banners. We also market across the country digitally on that, and we continue to see the response rates on that to be in excess of what industry standard is. In the year in review document I sent to you, there's some specific metrics about how that campaign is performing. And then on the workforce development and diversity front, I sit on the Workforce Investment Board here, but workforce is one of the other most important things we work on in economic development, is making sure that we can highlight the great workforce training resources that we have in the community. And we're very fortunate to have great ones, whether that's Lincoln Land Community College, what the Springfield Urban League offers, the Boys and Girls Clubs offers workforce training. These are nationally accredited programs that have been very, very successful in creating great workers. CAP 1908 has workforce development going on. UIS does, along with our local school districts. What District 186 has done on these pathways to careers through public schools is something that's also great. And so we work to coordinate those and make sure we share all that information. So that's a lot of items that I ran through. I really do appreciate all the support we've had in the past. We have a great working relationship with the city, with Mayor Busher, Director Yezel, and all of your department directors are unbelievably responsive when we need something, and we really appreciate that. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
We have a couple council members signed up, so I'll let them go in order here.
Sure.
Alderman Carlson.
So Ryan, what do you guys actually do over there? No, really?
So, yeah, it's funny because people ask my wife, what does Ryan do for a living? And she goes, I don't know. He talks on the phone a lot.
Same
So,
thing.
yeah, right,
No,
yeah.
well, seriously, Ryan, you did a great job over there. The number that stands out to me, let's go back maybe 15 minutes ago in your presentation, something that is all near and dear to us, and something that I think you mentioned earlier, we're measuring progress at Shields with what's going vertical. And I think I heard you correctly, 80% of the money that we're spending right now, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Is
The
below,
total cost.
is below ground.
At or below grade.
Right. I mean, to me, that gives
So
a-
like
a-
the turf, for example,
Right.
you're not going to see vertical construction with turf. It's going to get
No,
laid
I think
down.
that's an important number, and that's the first time I've heard that number. To me, it gives all of us some sort of perspective of there is stuff going on out there.
Yeah, there's a tremendous amount of work going on at the site, and I know because I see it, I'm familiar with the project, I'm also getting some complaints. So I know that there's work going on at the site. It's dusty, bike paths have to be temporarily closed, people's lives get disrupted sometimes when there's development, and so we're working through all those things.
Yeah, the north part is the north part of
Yeah.
it is sort of the southeast corner of Ward 7, and
Right, the
I've talked
detention
to you,
pond,
and
yeah.
you've gotten back to me a great response, and I've let those residents know what's going on and try to keep them up to date of what they can
Sure.
expect as this continues. So, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Alderwoman Conley.
Thank you, Mayor. And Ryan, thank you again for coming in tonight
Sure.
and putting all this together. I'm just going to give you some questions that I've gotten from constituents because I wasn't entirely certain. Well, it was late, and so I didn't get to email you, and I
That's okay.
apologize for that.
I will definitely answer them here, and if I can't, I'll get back with you.
You can answer these. So one of the questions was, it's this Growth Alliance. Who else gives you, what are your other funding sources?
Sure. We receive funding from the City of Springfield and from Sangamon County. We also have another number of other taxing bodies that provide support for us. I hope I don't miss any, but the Mass Transit District, the Water Reclamation District. Airport Authority, that's right, and others provide funding. But we have about 28 private companies that provide funding to the Growth Alliance also.
And I just wanted to kind of make that point. It's not even just public dollars. It's public-private partnership.
Correct. We are a
involved there.
public-private partnership, yes.
And then again, and I think this is kind of to fill in that, because we are closing in, next year will be $2 million
Yes.
to this organization. Can you just kind of elaborate a little bit on the difference between what you can do, or what it is that you do differently than our government? I mean, I don't want to, I'm not going to say anything against you, but I can tell you, I'm sure op-ed could take $250,000 a year and use that in a lot of creative ways also. So
Right.
kind of, I mean, we see a lot of, yes, you supporting a lot of these projects, and I know that those are projects where the city has done a lot of work too.
Mhm.
So kind of maybe just elaborate a little bit more on that difference. Sort of what do you do all day, but
Right,
just
exactly.
a little more
It's
nuanced.
It's a very fair question. So a couple things to think about is, in a public-private partnership, when the public money goes in, there's also all the private money that comes in. I agree completely that OPED could do a lot of things with $250,000, without a doubt. The Growth Alliance, we're blending that with the private money also. And so that gives us a tremendous amount of resources to go out and do things like marketing the community. We have to travel a decent bit, go to trade shows and conferences and meeting with site selectors. But also, developers like to deal with an entity in the community like the Growth Alliance. It's not that they're against government. It's that we provide that layer of anonymity for them that they need for competitive business reasons too. And so this model that we have set up with the Growth Alliance is what you commonly see in other similar communities. And that's what site selection consultants are used to being able to access. With us being a public-private entity, we have some flexibility to do some things that government isn't necessarily able to do, whether that's with the marketing that we do and other activities that we're able to leverage. And that brings an advantage also. Also, it's easier for us to work regionally with other partners who are also public-private partnerships. So this model has worked successfully in a lot of other entities. The state of Illinois has the same model set up that intersect Illinois. They receive money from the state of Illinois, but they also have a number of other companies that come in. So when you can blend the private and the public money together, you maximize the investment that way. Now, we can go out and get a traction for a project, but when it comes time to pull the levers on incentives and things like that, that's done here. That's done with Director Yazel and other individuals. And so the developer or site selector sees us as that conduit to be able to connect and do that process. So that's one of the best ways I can explain that.
Thank you very much. Appreciate
Hopefully
it.
that was okay.
Yes, thank you, Mayor.
Alderman Williams.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. And thank you for coming. I appreciate you. I did want, well, I start off with my being appreciative. I'm happy that you have been supporting Pillsbury. That is Ward 3, and of course, we're really appreciative that you got behind that. Things are going well in that area. However, that is the northeast part of my ward. I still have this big southeast section that Springfield Planning Commission, your organization, and others never seem to talk about. Now, we do talk about smaller things, like 1908, Sean had to leave on emergency, so he's not here to speak to it, but we have that whole section over there that no matter what organization it is, it tends to get left out. I mean, I'm still dealing in Ward 3, the old Comcast property, the two great big buildings there, I'm still empty. The old Burger King, just the whole southeast end of South Grand Avenue East. And I just don't want that to be forgotten, because that's a concern of ours that we see all this, even all the way back to what we just did tonight. I voted against it because I'm like, between Ward 3 and 4, surely we could have put that warehouse, closer to the people.
You have industrial sites in Ward 3 that we submit on a regular basis. If you drive up Dirksen Parkway, they're along Ash Street between South Grand and down towards Stevenson. There's an industrial park there. We submit those sites regularly. Also, when you get up north to JCPenney's and cut back on Singer, there's a number of industrial sites there that we market. I believe those areas have the most incentives available in any area of the city because of the overlap with the enterprise zone. Some of those properties also are in the East Side TIF district, closer to downtown. I believe maybe the cannabis money area. So when we market a site, we also market those incentives too, and we're going to keep pushing them. I agree with you. They're close to the interstate.
Yes.
And they're close to Dirksen Parkway.
That's why many people, not just me, but many people over there don't understand with that interstate being there like that. All these big empty spaces. So I just don't want you to forget that or forget about that. I'm already a little nervous about previously, the support that came from you and your organization for the sports complex. That thing was sold as if it's going to benefit the whole city. But as it develops and as we get further along, I was told, all your hotels are going to fill up, but I see them building hotels. That concerns me. That makes me wonder, well, wait a minute. They're starting to kind of build their own little world around the complex to where people may not need to leave from the buffet they're building out there, the hotels that they're building out there. And pretty soon, maybe what they said to get it done isn't true. Because maybe now they're not going to be up and down Stevenson and Dirksen filling up these hotels that we were talking about.
Yeah, I completely understand your concern. What I can tell you is there will not be enough hotel rooms at that site to satisfy the demand for the size of the tournaments that are coming in. The new Hilton product that's being built on the north side of Capital City Shopping Center is an example. That developer is an individual I did some hotel projects with in Decatur
Sure.
that reached out to me when I came here and wanted to know about doing a hotel. And I recommended the Dirksen Parkway corridor to them.
Yeah. Well, he's
because-
one of the ones I'm speaking of, so.
That's right, and so that's, I was excited to see that go there. There is room for more. I agree completely. I don't, honestly, I'm not an expert on how hotels decide where they're going to develop.
Okay.
They have what they call star reports. They look at occupancy rates. They look at the average daily rate
Okay.
that's earned, and that goes into their financial model. But I still feel comfortable saying the sports complex is going to generate a demand for room nights along Dirksen Parkway also. Some people don't like staying at the complex.
Okay.
Some people like to stay away
Well,
as
you
a
know,
choice.
I
too.
won't belabor our time. I'll just say, don't forget about us.
I won't.
You know, all these situations are real to us, and we're not just talking hotel. I mean, we're talking, it could be retail, it could be a lot of different things over there. These same sites I'm saying have been empty for years now. Comcast left Cook and Dirksen, I forgot how long ago now, and went out, you know, out west, but those are pretty significant sized buildings there. Of course, Burger King has a new Burger King, but that old one and all that property going back up to the county and some of the areas that you mentioned, I just would like to see some kind of effort. I know that there's supposed to be a southeast plan, but no one ever talks about it or puts action on it.
Yeah,
The
that-
most we do over there is housing. And what we're both saying, like I can speak for him since he's not here,
Yeah.
is that we want more than just housing. We need to see some economic development.
And a couple of things, I will not forget about that area of the town.
Thank you.
Although I didn't grow up in Springfield, both my parents grew up on the east side. My mom grew up in the Cabbage Patch, and I remember as a kid, you know, driving my grandma who didn't drive to the bread store in South Grand, to J.C. Penney's, to Humphreys, all those kind of things. My dad grew up on Phillips Street, not too far from Pillsbury. We went there a lot as I was growing up. And I believe there's tremendous potential there. You have great sites over there. We just have to find the right thing that wants to locate on one of those sites. But there's a number of good industrial sites along Dirksen Parkway that we submit on a regular
You know,
basis.
the
And-
old Rochester Road piece,
Right.
there's several.
That's right.
You know, so I'm just hoping
Yep.
for the future. The new
Yep.
state agency may kick some of this off if it ever gets going. I'm not sure, but I'll just say, I just don't want us to forget about that part of town because it's so important, you know.
I won't, and that's why it's so important that we get out and sell the community like we're doing. We have to get out, we have to play offense, we have to sell it. So absolutely, I will work on it.
Thank you.
Yep.
Alderwoman Purchase?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Ryan, for providing a lengthy update.
Sorry.
So I was going to ask, moving forward, do you mind if we get maybe an update twice a year? Because that was a lot that you just did, which it was a diversified portfolio that covered the whole entire city, but just a few updates throughout the year to tell us what's going on. Like you gave an example of
Yep.
saying that they're doing a video at the sports complex, which we do see that on social media or is sent out to us in email, but on some of the other projects, that would be really, really good. And I'm glad to hear you coming forward and talking about this because I had just maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago judged Miss Illinois, and I was in Marion. And Harley Davidson bought the mall. They're putting up a Top Golf. And I said, whoa, you guys can come to Springfield too. We got a larger population as well. But just seeing new development and how things are going where I went to college at SIU Carbondale, but wanting to see some of those things that they're doing down there coming here too. So I'm glad to hear about the report. And if we could just get more update throughout the year, I would greatly appreciate it.
I'm happy to do that. Yep.
Thank you.
Happy to do that.
Absolutely. Alderman Hanauer?
Thank you. Ryan, I appreciate you coming in. I want to talk real quick about site selections and that.
Sure.
We have to kind of run a tightrope on that, don't we? Because we don't want to say you have to go here and have these corporations just walk. Am I correct?
Yeah, we really can't. Buying property is a private transaction. The Growth Alliance is not licensed brokers or realtors. We
Right.
can't give advice on that.
Right.
What we do is when we find someone interested in a property, we connect them with the controlling party of the property, and then we have to step out of the transaction. So you're absolutely right. We have to let them work that out. And although we can suggest sites, we can suggest things, whether there's good mass transit, and I will say there's mass transit where this warehouse would go through the Sangamon-Menard Area Rural Transit District. So any area that's not served by SMTD, people can get a ride there through a transit system. I've used that to help people get to manufacturing plants in Auburn, people that live in Springfield that maybe worked there. So those are all the things we try to say, because we might have a site that we think is really good, that we think will go through the planning process really well, and we'll try to sell it. We can say things like, there's a bus stop here so your employees can get to and from work. This already has the infrastructure there. It's always somewhat of a mystery as to why the end client picks certain sites.
And I know I happen to have a business that looked in Springfield at one point, and the prior administration was trying to get them to go to a certain area, and they walked away for a couple of years, and a developer came back and said, well, let's look again and see what we could do. And they found a location that I didn't think it was a very good location, but that met their business model, and and they're there and they're doing well from what I understand. But I think that we got to be careful as a body to try to force someone. These businesses have their business models that they've enacted, and a lot of them are pretty good. And you guys are kind of the liaison with Val and our economic development, and I know you're trying to get. All we can do is here's the location. Now this location is a little bit better because you can have this
Right.
tip and blah 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 blah, where another location may not have it, and then it's up to them to make the selection. I mean, and we got to be careful about not wanting people to go to a certain location, because in my mind, if we start voting down businesses, what happens to us?
When we try to avoid a situation where that might happen, and so we're honest, if they say we really like this site right here, and we can say, well, here's the map, here's the comprehensive plan, it doesn't say it's suitable for that activity. We don't think the zoning and regional planning staff are going to say it's suitable. We think you're going to have an uphill battle getting that site for what you want it for. They may still decide to go forward. We're very transparent about that. And for just that reason, like we wouldn't tell them no, but we can identify, we can kind of sweep for mines out there, right? We can say that's going to be a problem. And
But will these site selectors, if we start voting down projects, will they shut the book on Springfield?
No, and I say that because you all have a tough job. I mean, I think zoning and land use is one of the toughest things you vote on, because if you vote on a ordinance for a rate or something, eventually time goes by. But when you vote on a land use thing, people drive by it every day. And that's how I always felt about it. So, no, I don't think so, especially if they can see just that example I just gave. Like if they picked a really bad site that the community had come together years ago and said, this is not going to be industrial, and you want to go there, they're going to be able to understand that. And we try to, with the city staff and us, we try to explain to them, this is an uphill battle to do that. You're going to put the city council in a bad position by asking them to do this, because we all want jobs, but at the same time, you have to be responsible on the land use process that you go through. So the biggest thing that we can do to show that we're open for business is returning phone calls, returning emails, things like that when they contact us. And your city staff's great at that. And I think having the project manager, having Matt in that role too, he's done a great job on this warehouse project, and continues to do that, and having that single point of contact. Those are the kind of things they see and they know. There's always going to be things that get turned down. Geez, in North Dakota, there was a gigantic plant. You might have heard this story that was going to be Chinese owned, and the local community changed their mind and killed the whole project at the last minute. Those are the kind of things that scare people away. Something they'd already made a decision on and then changed their minds. So that's what I'm talking about. If it's something the community doesn't want, you're trying to put a square peg in a round hole, I don't know what you can do about that. We try to avoid that the best we can.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Alderman Williams?
Yes, I'm sorry. I just want to make a final comment to you. I just think Springfield can no longer continue to, I realize that the site selection is tough and we can't make people, do certain things. It's up to them where they want to locate, but we continually put everything in one corner of the town and then complain about the traffic. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, when I talk with folks, everything's all over in one corner. And then it's the busiest intersection and the busiest this, and it takes too long and all the backed up. We don't have to be that way is all I'm saying. So maybe we can explain some of those things to them too. It may be advantageous. Everything that was east that did go west as a business are gone now. They're out of business. I don't know if they regret ever leaving and going over there, but they did, and I can name them, and they're no longer in business today. So all I'm saying is there are other sections, and particularly the weakest section, which is me and Sean's area over there, that needs to be developed with some retail and some other things. That's all I'm saying. I realize we can't make them. I don't recall a time when we voted to kill something that they couldn't do it and they left Springfield. So I don't think it gets to that point because you guys do a job to where you work it out or get them, they get to go where they want, which is allowed. So that's all I was trying to say. Thank you.
The retail economic development's a totally different animal than what we do on non-retail things.
Sure.
And the retail economic development really comes down to the city, to all of you, because of the direct flow of sales tax that go into it. One thing I'll tell you about retail, and it's not going to make you any less frustrated, is that they like to be in busy places.
Yeah.
That it's always like, why are they going there? That's so busy. Well, they're going there because it's busy. And so the more we can do to create jobs in an area and the more you can do to create traffic, the more success you're going to have in attracting retailers and restaurants. What I always say is jobs bring rooftops and rooftops brings retail and restaurant is what happens. So if we can continue to increase the traffic around an area, like the hotel north of Capital City, that's going to increase, that's going to raise the traffic count. Retailers are looking for traffic count. They love to be in busy places, and I know it's frustrating when you have to wait for the traffic, but my experience is that's where they want to be. So we need to create all that positive traffic flow. We need to market the traffic counts that exist along Dirksen, which we do. I believe there's great opportunities there at Capital City Shopping Center, with the intersection there at South Grand.
Sure.
County Markets made a big investment there in their grocery store, and every time I go by there, those car chargers are full.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're bringing more people through there.
I mean,
They
I
are.
understand.
You see them, don't you? Those chargers
sure.
are,
So you don't get
go any farther.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
just,
you're on
I'm
the
just.
edge of town, yeah.
I think those people might have money to spend, is what I'm saying. So we need to tell a business that.
The other thing is, sir, so a lot of businesses that go over there where it's busy don't last. I mean, I can name a lot of brand restaurants, chain restaurants and things who are no longer in Springfield too, because they jumped out over there. Bakeries, restaurants, you name it, that are closed too. So it's not like a year later they're gone because another new one came in that sells pretty much the same thing. I'm just trying to spread this thing out.
Sure. I just don't want to oversell my ability to get a business to go in a specific place.
I got you.
We do sell it, but I want you to understand the limitations I have on being able to make it happen. But we do sell it. There's tremendous traffic counts along Dirksen and in that area, along South Grand, and so there's opportunities there. And so those people parking their cars there to charge them have money to spend. We just have to get out and tell people there's people sitting here that have money they could spend in your business. So, yep.
Thank you. And I'm sure Director Harrison thanks you for plugging Lincoln Library while she was sitting there.
Oh,
I'm sure she's very thankful for that as well. So any other discussion? Seeing none, we have a motion and a second to place 2024-260 on approval. So those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Those opposed, nay. The voting is now open. And I have one more. Button's working. 9 voting yes, none voting no. Thank you, Mr. McCready.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Shorten
The
the
next-
speech just a little bit, okay?
The next item on the agenda is item number 2024-255, an authorizing execution of an annexation agreement between the City of Springfield, Illinois and Robert Joe Reynolds for the property located at 674 and 680 West Camp Sangamo Road for the Office of Public Works. The Chair will entertain a motion to hold a public hearing regarding agenda number 2024-255.
So move.
Second.
Motion and a second for the public hearing. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion for the public hearing, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. The public hearing is now open. Does anyone in the council chambers wish to address the council regarding the annexation agreement in front of you?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Public meeting and
I have a motion and a second to adjourn the public hearing. Any discussion on that? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Public hearing is now adjourned. The chair will now entertain a motion to reconvene the regular meeting of the city
So moved.
council.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Everybody's staying. That's good. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The motion carries and the council meeting is now reconvened. The chair will entertain a motion to place agenda number 2024-255 on final passage.
so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, the voting will now be open. All those in favor, please vote yes. All those opposed, please vote no. And the motion carries with 10 voting yes and 1 absent. The next item on the agenda is item number 2024-256, an ordinance annexing certain described real property located at 674 and 680 West Camp Sangamo Road for the Office of Public Works. The chair will entertain a motion to place agenda number 2024-256 on final passage.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion on that? Seeing none, the voting will now be open. All those in favor, please vote yes. All those opposed, please vote no. And the motion passes with 10 voting yes, 1 absent. That would conclude, oh, sorry, Alderman Williams. Next item on the agenda is item number 2024-268, an ordinance providing for and authorizing the issuance of general obligation refunding and improvement bonds, Series 2024 of the City of Springfield, Sangamon County, Illinois, in an amount not to exceed $28 million for the purpose of financing costs of certain capital improvements within the city equipment purchases and refunding certain outstanding bonds of the city. So we have can I get a motion to put this one on?
So move.
So, second.
We have a second. Now we're open for discussion. I'm going to assume that would be you, Alderman Williams?
Yes, Mayor. So I had, when this went on consent, I went home and pulled up some stuff. I was trying to understand it a little better, and I just have some questions for Ramona, Director Ramona, if you will. I'm sorry, I never say your last name. What's the last name?
Metzger.
Metzger. Okay, I'll be saying Director Ramona, okay. So in the last budget, or the last budget of the old administration, I recalled, and I was reading it, $10 million that was set aside or saved to our my language that I have wrote down says saved fund balance. Is that still in existence?
Save the fund balance?
To have that $10 million?
There's $10 million of this bond that would go towards the infrastructure of the firehouse.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about, one for infrastructure. So will we be diverting that, or what will we do with that? If this, would it have an impact, be impacted by us passing this?
I think
But if we did not do it, or
If we did it,
If we do
if this
it,
passes tonight?
when we do this, there was a resolution that was passed a couple of weeks ago by council that allows us to pay ourselves back for expenses that have been incurred for the firehouse already. So by the time the bonds are called on September 3rd, we will be close to that $10 million mark. And we will pay corporate back the $10 million.
Okay.
This will go into the capital improvement fund, and the $10 million will, and the bonds will be paid over a number of years from the capital improvement fund.
So I guess, so we're borrowing this money, so don't we already have a significant balance fund, or fund balance?
Yes, we do have fund balance. There was a, let's see, open up my file. There was a portion of that that has already been utilized with the firehouse, because the firehouse build was, I have the exact numbers in front of me. It's close to 30 million, 27 million, 25, 27 million right now. And there was, because there was a change order of 3.4 million.
You said, say those numbers one more time, please.
Which number?
35, you said?
Nope, I didn't say 35.
25,
Let's
okay.
see, 20, yep. And I do have the exact numbers in a spreadsheet that
Would
I
like her
can
to
send
email you that?
Yeah, and I appreciate what you sent me so far. I mean, that really helped, and which spurred my next two questions. So, what is the current expiration date on the general obligation bonds from 2014? This was before I got on the council, so I just wanted to understand that piece.
It's 2032, but I'll check.
You said 2032?
2029 for the 2014 bonds,
Okay.
December 1st of 2029.
And what was the interest rate?
The interest rate varied. From 24 through 29, the interest rate is predominantly 5%.
So why are we extending our payments out then?
So for the 2014 bonds, we're like refinancing them. We're refunding them, and we will have about $500,000 in profit. Not $500,000, $500,000, yes, $500,000 in profit. I'm getting all confused with numbers.
No, that's fine. So if, well, I guess so this annual audit is, don't we have an annual audit next month?
We do have an annual audit, yes.
That's going to be coming up.
Yes.
So why wouldn't we wait until, like, delay this until we see the audit and the financial forecast and things like that, you know, that we get with the audit next month?
The audit is for fiscal year '24, and we have estimates of those numbers. And our estimates are almost the same as what they were during the budget period.
Okay, well, I would feel more comfortable if we wait out. The votes are probably not there to delay and just wait until we get the audit. So therefore, I know I probably will just, abstain from voting on this. I just would want to see the audit before I did something like this, because I'm not quite sure understanding why, if we have firehouse money already, and why would we be taking on some more debt and borrowing when we really, sounds to me from what I'm reading, we don't need to, unless it's on my ear and I'm not understanding the whole total picture.
We would be reducing our corporate fund balance an additional $10 million. And the rating agencies, they don't want to see a reduction of our fund balance. They like our fund balance to be higher. So if as we lower our fund balance, our bond rating, it will lower. Right now, I'm not sure if I can release that. I was told what the Standard & Poor is going to be, but the mayor doesn't even know yet.
It'd be nice for me to have a conversation first.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're no need to be sorry.
I know.
You're good.
So,
I got a call earlier today, but I don't think I'm at liberty to share our ratings.
well,
Sorry.
Again, so, that's just my opinion. I just think we should wait until we see the results of the audit and kind of get a good look at, what's actually happening and what's going on from the auditors.
And I can assure you that our 24 results are comparative to what our budget 24 estimate was.
Because, my biggest concern is the dedicated tax sales money, and how it's used compared to what our operating budget is,
No, I'm not sure I understand that.
So in other words, are we trying to free up, both the fund balance and the dedicated bond sales tax, so that we can take care of all the increases from what we've been doing so far as a council in the operating budget, and things like what's ready to come up, like for example, the impact of the fire. We ready to do the fire contracts. And there's possibly raises and costs there. So I was just trying to make sure we wasn't trying to just borrow, get money, free up other money so that we can cover operating.
I'll give you a quick answer. Part of this from my perspective.
Okay.
Not this council, the council previous to this one, so some of you weren't on that council that approved the 2024 fiscal year budget. Some of you are new with me. There was an expenditure of taking 10 million from the corporate fund to spend on the firehouses, which depletes the corporate fund balance, as the director said, and that is not, it does not give us our 2-month savings back when it was proposed then that we are supposed to have according to GFOA standards. So when I came in as mayor, that was one of my bigger concerns, and this is one of our solutions to spending down that balance. So that would have been passed one council before this one, so.
Well, and these questions generated from me as a rookie, just trying to learn about bonds and keep up with this. So I appreciate you for your answers, and I can't say I got pure clarity, but I'm going to wait on the audit report. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Alderman Donlin.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor, and I appreciate the questions, Alderman and Director. I appreciate your answers. My recollection was that based, kind of what the Mayor said, based on prior actions, and then once we fast forward, we got to the new budget year, the new proposed budget year, that we took a hard look at what the projections were as far as expenditures and revenues, and it was determined that the fund balance was going to get dangerously low. And one of the things that you proposed during the budget process, Mayor, was this very thing. And we debated it back then, and it was indeed to, if I recall, the fund balance was going to get near the 10% number, maybe like 13, 14%-ish.
It was going to be like 13, I think 13.1%, and that also included a pension funding that was higher as well.
Right, that's right. And but when we get down, and I don't mean to be preachy, but when we get down to that, towards that 10% level, we have difficulty making payroll. If we get towards the 20% level, you could argue that we have funds that need to be invested in the community and not just sitting there. So, and we're not talking, and there's a formula to the fund balance. I'm not going to get into all that, but I appreciate the questions because it is important. I mean, I've been asked a couple of times by some media folks about, why are you doing this and what is it all about? And I think it's responsible to always take a look at what resources we have available as a council and as a financing team, and do what's in the best interest of the city, and that's meeting the needs of the residents, and that's making sure we have the services. And a lot of our services, you can argue, unfortunately, I'll say fortunately, a lot of our services that we provide are people. I mean, we provide police, fire, public works people to do the work throughout the community, and there are other departments. I don't want to offend the library director. She's here in the front row. But Alderman, I appreciate the questions, and thanks for taking the time to answer. You did clarify a couple things that I had, and that's all I have, Mayor, and I just hope we can move this along this evening.
Gotcha. And Alderman Williams, just to add one more thing too, for that fiscal year 24 budget, when you approved it, you were not given a forecast beyond fiscal year 24. Had you been given that, you might have questioned it then.
Right.
That's why we gave you that additional forecast when we did our budget. So just to let you know that as well. Yeah. So any other discussion? Seeing none, the motion the voting will now be open. All those in favor of the motion, please vote yes. All those opposed, please vote no. And I think we've got everybody. Yep. The motion passes with 8 voting yes, 1 voting present, and 1 absent. Does any of the aldermen or alderwomen have any unfinished business to bring before the council? Alderwoman Purchase.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I know Alderman Gregory had to leave and wanted to make sure one of the 3 of us mentioned this. I think, was it yesterday we was at CAP 1908?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, I forgot that, yeah.
Yesterday, and it was a major concern because my shirt I was just sweating out water weight with how hot it was, and asked them about their AC unit. And I know some of them wanted to come and speak with us today up here publicly to address their concerns. I think something's going on with their permit, and that's, Alderman Gregory was gonna bring it up tonight, but just, ensuring that we get that process streamlined, and they're just waiting on it. I'm not for sure, but I just told them drink a lot of water, because we had older people in there that was just sweating, and I was happy they didn't have a stroke or anything.
If you would talk to Chief of Staff Disco after the meeting about that, I don't know that the people in that building want us to speak publicly about the information, so I would prefer you talk to him if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other unfinished business? Okay, as we go into new business, I want to bring up the bobblehead that's sitting in front of me, and that's why your police chief is not here tonight, because it's his bobblehead night at the Lucky Horseshoes game. So those who skipped the meeting and decided to go to the Lucky Horseshoes have gotten themselves a Chief Scarlet bobblehead. So I put mine on display for the evening so you could see it. You
Gotta
can-
have one of them bad boys.
Yeah, you can.
Mayor, can you tap it? Can you tap it?
Well, I don't want to really whack him in the head. That would be mean, but.
There we go. All right.
There we go.
So we have a Chief Scarlet bobblehead here, and that, he did that to raise money for Compass for Kids. The funding for that, the funds go to Compass for Kids. And myself, many of the directors at the city here, and then Alderwoman Purchase did attend a breakfast this morning, a stakeholder breakfast for Compass for Kids. And if you ever get an invite for that annually, I really recommend you do it and go see their program for their campers for the summer. It's a great program. And then Ms. Haley asked me to remind all of you that this Saturday is the City of Springfield's Veterans Empowerment Resource Fair. And that Veterans Empowerment Resource Fair will be held at the Salvation Army Community Center at 1600 East Clear Lake Avenue. And it will be this Saturday, the 20th of July, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. They are going to be offering, there will be many, many vendors there, and there will be offering housing programs, health screenings, job recruitment, guidance for disability, homemaker and home health aid, and legal aid services offered for veterans for this. If a veteran wants to attend the function and cannot get to the Salvation Army, the City of Springfield and SMTD partnered together to help pay for bus tokens that you can get in advance so that you can go. If you need bus tokens, you can contact us at the city and get them, or you can pick them up also at the YMCA and the Carasotas Theater on West Isles, because they've offered to hold them for us so that they're, kind of have them all over, spread about town, so they're easy to get to, the bus tokens. And you can go to our website at springfield.il.us to get more information about the Veterans Empowerment Fair. Any alderpersons? Alderwoman Notriano.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So I just have one thing to sort of bring up and then get clarity, if I could, on it. So in Ward 6, I have been having a rash and outbreak of folks parking their RVs, their campers, their trailers on the city street, and then also in their driveways. My guess is, it's summertime, people are getting ready to travel and things, but I was looking through the code, and it looks like you can't park on city streets. So if you could, Corporation Council, give us a little, some guidelines, I guess, for RVs and campers and things.
Yeah, so you're not allowed to use your RV as a residence and keep it parked in front of your place of residence, or have it powered there. The specific duration escapes me at the present moment, but for any significant amount of time.
Okay. And then when it comes to people, let's say they're not using it, if they just park it for storage in front of their house on the street, are you familiar?
Yeah. Again, the duration escapes me. I believe it's 48 hours, but I'd have to look at the code.
Okay.
AC Mumma shaking his
Katia
head.
is shaking her head because she's the one who would prosecute this. It is 48 hours. So
48 hours. Okay, great. Okay, great.
And if you have someone who complains, they can contact our Traffic Safety Division at the Springfield Police Department, and they can go and look at it and write an infraction if there's one.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you so much. Yes, I'll have some busy residents.
Anything else, Alderwoman?
Nope, that's it.
Alderwoman Conley.
Thank you, Mayor. Alderwoman, I just want to tell you, I have lived through that too. I have some areas where they also will park too close to the street corners, and it can be really obstructive for people trying to make current turns. So
AC Mumma would like to speak on this, it sounds like.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll let you.
Correct, it's a 48-hour deal. We do have a traffic services division that specifically deals with that. So if you folks want to get me those addresses and get me those complaints, I'll get them to the right people and we'll get them taken care of.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Assistant Chief Mumma. Alderwoman?
Thank you, Mayor. And I just want to share an opportunity that I was able to take part in this weekend, past weekend, and encourage fellow council members and other city residents to keep your eyes out for this. The Springfield Immigrant Advocacy Network held a resilient community conversation this past weekend, and it was really a beautiful event. It was talking with people who've moved to this country from other countries, just their stories, their backgrounds. I just want to say so for me, I'm also married to someone who's not from this country. I understand, there are a lot of complications in going through the green card process and then to, getting citizenship, which, we've gotten over that hurdle. But when we talk about the diversity and the strength of our community, people who move here from another country, one of the things that really was impactful for me to hear was how hard they work, the variety of experience, and just the resiliency of their personal character to leave everything behind and to start new here in a way that brings new experiences, new food, new culture, that we get stronger because we're seeing more people and having better exposure to different cultures and different beliefs and backgrounds. This is something that the Springfield Immigrant Advocacy Network will be doing on an annual basis. So just these different conversations to bring parts of the community together. And one of the questions I asked the woman who was kind of our lead storyteller in the group that I was in, I said, what do you think is the best way to break down some of the misunderstanding that we have in Springfield, and how do we break down these barriers? And one of the suggestions was, let's just have more block parties. Just get to know your neighbors. I live on a street where, 4 of my neighbors are new to this country, and then including, in my house. So we're 5 households, and we're just neighbors. And it was really, it was an important experience to be able to listen and to hear the variety of backgrounds and just what other people bring to our community. And strongly encourage you, if you don't follow them on Facebook, the Springfield Immigrant Advocacy Network. They're a great organization. They bring a lot of value to our community. And speaking of block parties, I know we've all gotten the notice, but National Night Out is coming, so it's not till August. I'm not going to jump too many guns here, but that's a great way for us to, again, sit down and talk with other people in your neighborhood and just show that as a community, we value each other. We value this community. We value safe spaces, and we want to be good neighbors to each other. So very much looking forward to that. And then on a final note, want to encourage everyone, Thursday night is again another opportunity for us to come together out on the old Y block for Love It Amp concert. Looking forward to it again. It shouldn't be quite as hot as last week, so come out and enjoy some music, and looking forward to another fun Thursday night in Springfield. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Alderman Hanauer.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I just realized that we don't have a meeting next week, so I wanted to have the chief come up and talk about the ribbon cutting and the stuff at all the activity at Fire Station 13.
Before you speak, you all want to wish him a happy belated birthday. His birthday was
Oh,
Monday.
happy birthday.
Thank you. Yeah, me and Chief Scarlett share,
Scarlett's
we're
is
birthday
today.
buddies. His is today.
Scarlett's is
so-
today?
Yeah.
No wonder he made
Are you
work.
older than him? Like Keisha?
You know what, I
You're
don't know
looking good
his
for 25.
age, so, yeah. So back to the topic at hand. Station 13, we're going to be doing the ceremonies August 1st and August 3rd. So the ribbon cutting will be August 1st at 10 a.m. The open house, open to all the public to come, have fun. We'll have some festivities, the fire engine there. If the weather is nice, the kids can spray water. Adults can spray water, all of that. And that will be August 3rd, Saturday morning from 9 a.m. till noon. So And then, if you don't mind, if I continue on something else, right now, we have the sign-up period for new firefighters. So if you know any firefighters, have them go to the firefighters page or human resources page, and now is the time to sign up. The test will be also around those same days of August 1st and 3rd. So now is the time, if you know anyone age 20 to 35, to get out there, tell them to sign up. So, did you?
Thanks, Chief.
Thanks, thank you.
Thank you. Alderwoman Purchase.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just received 3 text messages of screenshots from Southern View Police Department on a safety alert, and people asking me if this is real. I just want to commend your administration and the Springfield Police Department because it has been peaceful protest, but the way that the language is written in this letter going out to businesses talking about riot and looting, it is probably going to cause a little bit of tension.
Oh, it came from Southern View,
Yeah,
not us.
That's why I said
Full disclosure.
I'm saying thank you to your administration and the Springfield Police Department for keeping everyone calm, being supportive of the protesters coming forward, and to see a letter like this alerting businesses about riot and using those words looting and destruction of property. Those are pretty contentious wording that they use.
I'm not sure that they sent it to them, but we can bring someone up.
I just got the same thing with the same
The 3
concerns.
people just sent the screenshot to me saying, is this real?
So the city of Springfield's aware of an incident that happened last week. And basically, we have been in a planning mode up till today even. I mean, literally, I just, before walking in here, just come out with another meeting with our community shareholders, our stakeholders, and those that we feel that need to be at the table, right? We've had great conversations up to this point. Things have been going really well. We're not aware of anybody saying there's going to be riots. I'm going to be honest with you. And I know that it builds fear. Once again, you said where that's from.
Yeah.
I'm not real sure where they obtained that information from. So we will try to figure out where that came from. And if it's true, then we would prepare accordingly. But I've been in meetings all week long, all day long, and I've not gotten that yet. Like I said, we've had great conversations with our community shareholders up to this point.
And I do know Chief Mumal, I think it was on Springfield Leaks today, that the video may be coming out before Saturday as well. I don't know how true that is, but I do know when we do see the video, you may have a lot of emotions flying throughout our community too, and just continue to ask everybody to please be calm. You can express how you feel, but let's just remain peaceful, respectful. And I know that we have, I think, a protest coming again this Saturday too, and have the attorney Ben Crumpus, from what I'm hearing, will be here as well. But just seeing this letter and actually reading it when I just got these screenshots though, that, I feel some tense too.
I've seen some of the responses too as well. And as far as the video coming out, we have no control over that. Basically, we're planning for whenever that is and whatever it is. We've not seen it. The Springfield Police Department has not seen it. We are hearing things as well as everyone, but I would just say patience, right? As a community, we be patient till this comes out. When it does, we've been preparing, like I said, with our local partners, state partners, and everybody that we always do. So this isn't anything different that we do anytime that we have a potential incident coming, right? I mean, we had an incident a while back, so we're constantly preparing for this. I feel like we're in a really good spot, but what I would say to the community as well, we believe in your First Amendment rights. We believe in your right to protest, and we will provide that lane. We just ask for everybody to be peaceful, and that's basically what it boils down to.
Nope, thank you all again.
Yeah, and just to speak to that, with the protest, we don't have any details on this Saturday protest that's possibly being proposed, but once we do, we've already talked with Haley Wilson, our communications director, about putting something out to the world to let them know that we will have a police presence there, but for the safety of the protesters, because as you've seen nationwide, that can sometimes be
Counter-protest.
it can also be very dangerous. So we're not having police presence there because we don't want the protests, we want to protect people.
Right. I understand that.
So we'll
and
put that out.
I know that the funeral is Friday too.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
continuing to send prayers to that family too as well, and just asking for people to be peaceful, and everybody mourns in different ways. But seeing
Ma'am.
that letter just raised my antennas.
I'm sorry that that's going out.
Thank you.
Any other council members before we have citizens to address the council that have any other new business? Okay, seeing none, the first person signed up to speak would be Rosanna Polito.
Thank you, Mayor and council
Yes, ma'am.
members, for allowing me to address the council on out-of-state landlords. And I remember when I was here March 27th, 2024, there were folks here who were concerned about dog breeders. And the mantra I heard from the city council was, we didn't know. Nobody told us. We didn't know. Nobody told us. So I'm here to tell you what's going on in our building. There's about 100 seniors, and we feel like the gates of hell have been opened and descended upon us. I want to share with you that some of the research I did took me 15 minutes to do. First, I want to tell you what's happened to us. Our manager, Tanya, who is now was fired last week, asked what she was doing is people would give their checks. They'd say it got eaten by the machine. They'd ask for another check. So the senior would go to the bank, find out both checks were cashed. Then Tanya said to this 82-year-old college professor, let me follow you to your bank. How many of you would want that to happen to your mother or father? The other thing is there was an 85-year-old woman with a walker. Tanya would not let her through the door. She said, no, you have to walk over there and do. How many of you, having an 85-year-old mother, would want to see that happen to her? What I have found is we are being told that CWLP, I guess they've changed their rules for this company, that has been totally unethical. Their behavior has been outrageous, and we never get answers. So I'm providing you findings of a lawsuit dated now May 2024 out of Maryland. This is what the suit says against the new management company that CWLP is going to thrust upon us. The lawsuit claims, among other things, that Yes Energy Management and Yardy acted as a collection agency in Maryland without a legally required Maryland collection agency license and violated Maryland law by charging fees in connection with this unlicensed activity. What has really been troubling for us seniors is the lack of communication. We are the ones collecting the brunt of this, but we don't have any communication as to what's going on. Many seniors, you know what, $800 might not be a lot of money to some of you. It is to senior citizens who are usually on a limited income. Many are out $800, or I keep asking and asking and asking, when are they getting their money back? They violated CWLP ordinance, but I get nothing. We talked with the new manager there who just started last week. He told us that each apartment has their own electric meter. He has since quit. I think he's a smart guy as far as I'm concerned. Now our old manager who used to work there for 3 years told us that's a lie. The apartments do not have their own separate electric meters. I'm going to tell you personally, with almost everybody I've talked to from this company, and you're going to see in that you can't get answers. Nobody will answer you. Nobody will communicate with you. They double charge by all these different things. People are saying that they've been charged and they can't get their money back, even though the company will admit that they've overcharged. So while I cannot afford a lawyer, I could not afford not to have a lawyer, because they consistently lie. I got an eviction notice on my door, and I've got a call from the lady high up who said, "Oh, no, don't worry about that. We see right here that you paid your rent." Only to be told 3 weeks later by the manager, "You know what, I'm sorry, it's not paid." So you just go round and round and round with these people. You get no answers. But now CWLP in the city is allowing Yes Energy Management Yardy, who is really a collection agency if you do your homework, to descend upon over 150 seniors in our building and play havoc in our lives.
Where is this at?
Pardon?
She's asking what your address is. She wants to know where the
2801
location is.
Montaluma Drive. We were Homestead, then we were Serenity Manor, and now we are Meadowview Landing. Our out-of-state landlord is out of Colorado, and their company that they all over, you'll read in the information I gave you, is all over the United States. The complaints from the people, it's all the same complaints we have at 2801 Montaluma Drive. You can't get answers. There's no formula. We have in our Illinois statute how tenant utility payment disclosure is supposed to happen. It has not happened. This is Illinois law.
Ms.
So
Polito,
we just keep going around
you a
and
question?
around. And do you
I
want
want to ask you a question.
Yes.
Have you had any conversations with Director Ethan Posey in our Community
I
Relations
have.
Department?
I have, and unfortunately, you know me, I'm honest. I called him at first when I was here and told to contact him, and he called and left a message and said, "Go to SagamonCounty.org and look up this and that and the other, and then you'll find out who to contact." That's all I got from him. And honestly, I did that. I put an honest effort in, and what it told me is I needed the parcel number. I didn't have the parcel number.
So I don't want you to say your phone number out loud in that microphone, but my chief of staff is in the back. Mike Disco. Mike, will you raise your hand, please? Give Michael your phone number, and I'll make sure that Mr. Posey follows up with you tomorrow. I think he's at the Lucky Horseshoes game tonight with the chief, so.
Yeah.
And we'll follow up with you on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I can't believe that the city of Springfield, you have to know, I've only been in Springfield 10 years. Many of these seniors there have been here all their lives. They're taxpayers. And I feel like, until it's proven differently, that the city and CWLP is siding with this big corporation who all across the country is causing havoc. Again, it took me 15 minutes to find out all the information, that I'm giving you. It's absolutely unethical, disgusting behavior by Yes Energy Management and Yardy.
If you'll follow up with Mr. Disco, we'll follow
I
up with you.
will. Thank you,
ma'am.
Mayor, can we get Doug up here since she's talking about, I'd like to have
Mr.
Doug.
Brown, Mr. Hanauer wants to talk to you.
I kind of want to hear your side of it.
Sure.
I'm sure you've been dealing with this.
Debbie Williams, the Regulatory Affairs Director for the utility, has been handling a lot of these issues. There's some residents in that same area that had some bills that they were able to share with us, and she basically made contact with the company, and they kind of came to a resolution that they would fix the bills, go back to normal for the utility billing by September. And unbeknownst to us, it just happened here, I think maybe just this past week, at the end of the week, the company changed like their vendor again that does their billing. And they hit new people with some different charges so she's been trying to get them to respond about it because it's a national company that does, like, they changed their whole billing process, I guess. And they did it across the board, across the country. So we know very little about this newer arrangement that they're doing. But as far as utility goes, the only thing we can do is ask them to stop, ask them to change, and then, as far as then, I guess, it just turns over to Corporation Counsel at that point. But she's the people that she's been in talk with our customers that have actually came forward with their bills and showed us that. I've been pretty happy with Debbie's response and her communication with them, so.
Thank you. Alderwoman Conley?
Don't leave.
She wants you to stay.
Just real quick, is there any agreement with CWLP to allow any sort of add-on billing? for
No,
this management
no,
company?
no.
So there is no way that they're authorized to do any additional billing or service
That's not, yeah,
fees?
that's correct.
Okay.
They are not authorized.
My bill.
Can't talk from out there, sorry, you're out of
Yeah.
order.
So anything that would be occurring like that would be?
They would be in violation of city code then at that point.
Yeah, and
And
that's on the
would be
management company and not.
Corporation
not the-
council then at that point.
I
But
just
the
wanna-
utilities, the only thing we can do is ask them to stop from our, position, and then we have to turn over to the attorneys.
Thank you.
Alderman Redpath.
So this lady brings a valid point to us in Corporation Council. It's not just this piece of property that we're talking about, it's the Lincoln Towers situation. Where do we go? We keep, I'm not blaming anybody, but we keep spinning our wheels here on the Lincoln Towers thing's a disaster. What this lady just explained to us is a disaster, but who do we get to fix it? How do we fix it? You got any ideas?
Well, so those are, from my perspective, two completely separate issues, right? One is an out-of-state landlord that's not doing repairs, and one was adding on bills. And as soon as Debbie contacted the company and said, "Hey, your billing process doesn't comply with our ordinances," those have been changed. And then, as Doug said, they changed vendors, and some new bills were sent out, and we're trying to address those. If they don't, then we'll haul them into court. But at this point, they're getting demand letters, and they're trying to fix it on the billing side. Now, when we're bringing somebody into court with Lincoln Towers, and there's they're going through bankruptcy or receivership, that's where we get into the court process that slows it down. And one of the things that we've discussed is having to have a local manager and to facilitate those repairs. That was something that's been discussed, but it's an issue. We go through what we can and try to get judgments and collect money when we can, and when we do, I think we collected a major judgment about 2 years ago. That's what we can do on the legal side and compel fixing it or demolition.
So that's my frustration. My frustration is that we get to the point, and I'm not blaming you because I know you're doing what you got to do, but we get to the point where it's like a shell game that these out-of-state landlords are dealing with when they're using the process to file bankruptcy and extend the problems to the next group who ends up doing the same thing again. And the situation with this thing. Is it legislation that has to be passed or looked at the state level to get this under control? Because we're not the only ones going through this. Every community our size has probably got the same problem. But the poor people at Lincoln Towers, they're one catastrophe away from disaster over there. And we all know that. And this situation is not the same, but it's a similar situation because it comes down to that out-of-state landlord. And we got to figure this out. We got to figure it out.
I will say having a local manager is not necessarily an answer because Old Town Apartments, I'm going to use Alderman Donlin's favorite subject, has a local manager. They don't return the manager's calls.
And we had this discussion before the meeting about Old Town Apartments and what was the other one?
Oh, Valley
I mean, these are plagues. These are plagues on our city. They're plagues, and we got to get those things cleaned up. But I understand her frustration. She has a right to be upset. I know Deb Williams is an honorable lady, and she's probably trying to take care of this problem for us, and I applaud her on that. But we just keep hearing the same scenario, different things, same scenario.
Alderwoman Purchase?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Corporation Council I think what just alarmed me is me thinking about my grandma when you say you got seniors in the building and some people don't have people who looking after them and their paychecks are being taken away. Wouldn't they need to call like the Attorney General? Like when you got people, I'm not using the word scamming seniors, but just something going on.
Right, so if there's believed to be a fraud or consumer deception,
Right.
then then that's an avenue they can go. I know that it was mentioned there's not enough money for a private attorney, but there would be a reasonable dispute as to whether or not these additional charges were contemplated in the initial rent agreement. Those are private disputes that our ordinances don't reach, but they certainly reach the issue of utility billing, and we're trying to address that.
I think when I listen to Alderman Redpath, the frustration is you have constituents. That's why I asked you for the address, because I'm pretty in tune with most of my high rises and senior facilities. Where was this located at? But they call us and we don't really have the jurisdiction to address all of their needs. And I think that's the frustrating part. Like, we know somebody is being treated bad and unfair, and we can't step in to intervene. And like you said, on this particular case, you got the utility where that helps us get an avenue in. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Alderman Donlin.
Mayor, I'll be brief. I don't want to belabor the point, but I want to thank you for coming tonight, and I want to thank the news media for their coverage of other issues that you've had at this complex. There's a complex in my ward that has been experiencing not quite the same problems, but problems have been brewing. I got to be careful how I say this because of the litigiousness of our society nowadays, but we have at least a few individuals that can't even get a copy of their lease. And so we've engaged, you're right, Mayor, been engaging the services and wherewithal of Ethan Posey and his staff, and they're working hard at making sure that the rules are being followed, because if they're not, I know we'll reach out to, as you had suggested, either the AG or some other entity, because, gosh darn it, people just deserve to be treated fairly, and I think for the most part, if they are treated fairly, and then usually it's not a problem. But Alderman Redpath, you're right. I am sick and tired of these out-of-state, and most of them are even not only out of town, but out-of-state owners that just take Springfield, and what they do is, and maybe it's this way elsewhere, but I call it the Netflix effect. They see a property, they see so many units, and it's a subscription. Everybody's going to pay their subscription every month, and we don't have to invest and reinvest and take care of those properties, and enough. And I know it's a priority of yours, Mayor, and I appreciate the efforts. In particular, I won't go into it all, but we got to do something different. We got to utilize the resources we have, and please know you have our ear.
Alderman Donlin, I just want to say that same thing is going on in our building. People can't get copies of their.
It's ridiculous. So anyway, thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, absolutely. The next person signed up to speak and address the council is Tony Sanders. It's Mr. Sanders. I'm assuming it's a Mr. because it's Tony, but I could be wrong. All right, he's no longer here. The next person signed up to speak was Alice Ramey, and I believe she left as well. Mr. Horn says she left. The next person signed up to speak and address the council is Jack Pasiola. I am, aren't I?
Bear with me, my energy ran out about an hour and a half ago. Good evening, Mayor Busher and Alder people. After weeks of comments and questions, I am still skeptical of CWLP's approach to fly ash and the ash ponds. On June 4th, Doug Brown stated multiple times that he believes removing fly ash, which many citizens prefer, would do more environmental damage than just capping the ash pond. Honestly, CWLP consistently says they believe instead of confidently saying they know and presenting facts. Also on June 4th, Alderman Hanauer said, "I don't believe anyone would want a truck with that ash driving past their house." On July 2nd, Scott Rogers said, "The dry fly ash for Ordinance 2024-237 will be loaded into enclosed trucks." Mr. Rogers also stated that the wet ash from the ash pond would not be enclosed. They'd have to remove the ash with a track hoe, dump it into an open truck, and put a tarp over it. Mr. Rogers then stated, quote, all of you know driving down the interstate behind a truck with a tarp, they're not 100% sealed." Mr. Rogers also noted it would take 7 trucks an hour for 7 years to clear out the ash ponds, and that the added emissions from diesel trucks and airborne fly ash would be environmentally risky. My questions to the council and CWLP are, If completely clearing the ash ponds creates too many environmental health hazards, why is it okay to still subject the surrounding area to pollution for the price of 6,000 tons of wet fly ash? Who decided that the environmental and human health impact was worth sacrificing the sake of 6,000 tons of wet fly ash? Did anyone compare the environmental and human health impacts of 7 trucks per hour for 7 years versus leaving the wet fly ash in an unlined pond to potentially contaminate groundwater and soil for years? I'm also still confused because the ordinance states, this ordinance approves and authorizes a fly ash purchase agreement with Howard Concrete for the purchase, removal, and beneficial use of conditioned wet fly ash from the Dolman ash ponds in an amount not to exceed 6,000 tons. Mr. Rogers' comments seem to confuse wet and dry fly ash. After all the previous comments, he noted that the ash would be enclosed and the amount taken would be limited to 6,000 pounds. But that's not what the ordinance says. And not all the ash is enclosed. Again, maybe he confused the two, but given the potential health risks here, I expect CWLP to clearly communicate the facts to the public. My next questions to the Horseshoe and CWLP, once again, is removing the wet fly ash actually more environmentally damaging, or are we just going with that line when it costs money instead of making money? What happened since June 4th that made it okay to have trucks with that ash driving past people's houses? Either I'm completely misunderstanding this entire ordinance, or CWLP has misrepresented or lied to all of you, me, and every other citizen who watches these meetings. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The next person signed up in advance to speak is Anupama Paruchuri. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Anupama Paruchuri, and I live in Ward 7. I'm here to speak about Resolution 2024-287 for honorary street signs. Obviously, I encourage the council to pass it, but I'm not yet concerned about that. I'm sure it will pass. Rather, I'm here to speak about why many in the community were so upset and angry about the removal of the Black Lives Matter honorary street sign downtown. Last week on July 9th, Alderman Gregory asked Director Fuchs to explain why the BLM sign was removed. Unsurprisingly, Director Fuchs' explanation raised more questions. The city apparently has a policy of removing temporary honorary street signs after 1 year. Yet the BLM sign, which was put up in 2021, has clearly stayed up for much longer, as have others. Perhaps it's a matter of city time and resources to timely remove signs. But why now? Why the sudden interest in enforcing city policy for a sign that was proudly placed near the governor's mansion? Director Fuchs also stated that a separate honorary sign for an individual was taken down at the same time, and that the family was asked if they wanted the sign. Did anyone ask BLM Springfield or other organizations if they wanted the BLM street sign? I understand the Reconciliation Way sign was also removed. Did anyone ask those involved with CAP 1908 or other organizations if they wanted the sign? Director Fuchs stated that temporary honorary signs can create confusion for central dispatch when first responders are identifying locations. The BLM sign was placed above the permanent signs for the intersection of Jackson and 5th Streets, not entirely replacing those original signs. I'm not sure why first responders wouldn't be able to read those already existing signs to identify their location. Overall, I'm disappointed in what appear to be pathetic excuses to justify removal after the fact. I'm especially disturbed by the timing of the sign removals. The BLM street sign came down on June 3rd, about 2 weeks before Juneteenth. It seems ironic and cruel to remove a sign that was meant to acknowledge the struggles of a particular community right before that same community celebrates a key event in their ongoing liberation. Springfield has a mixed history of race relations. We are known for the great emancipator Abraham Lincoln, but also the 1908 race riots. Springfield-born musician Morris Day performed at this year's Juneteenth celebration, a milestone 30 years of celebrations in Springfield, with a whole week of educational and community-building events. Yet the East Side must still struggle to receive even basic consideration from the city for issues like dilapidated houses, yard waste pickup, and nonprofit initiatives. This city talks a big talk about supporting projects that would preserve and amplify the history of the 1908 race riots, but it can't even leave an honorary street sign in place. Often it feels as though this city forgets that Black lives matter, but they do matter. And please note, an honorary street sign is not the cure-all for racial tensions. The community is processing recent events, from the tragic death of Sonia Massey to the continued harassment of Black drivers and citizens, all involving local law enforcement. As always, it is absolutely crucial for the city to at least publicly acknowledge what the Black Lives Matter movement is about. These issues are not temporary. As long as local law enforcement continues to target the Black community, there will always be a rift. However, the city must go further and actually address that rift, and it must continue working towards significant, substantive, and positive change. Because if we can't trust the city to leave an honorary street sign in place, how can we trust the city to do anything more? Black lives matter. They always have, and they always will. Do not insult their intelligence, and do not deny their humanity. Thank you.
Do you have anyone else signed up to speak? That's all of our speakers? Oh. So it sounds like Alderman Purchase is saying someone wants to speak but did not sign up in advance. Can you please come up and state your name for the record, please? I don't know, so.
And thank you so much. My name is Dr. Lisa Johnson. I reside at 1908 South 1st Street, Ward 6. I am an associate professor of sociology. I also hold an office at 1116 South 16th Street in Ward 2. I have one statement to read for someone else who was writing and is unable to be here. But before I read that, I'd like to express my shocking alarm at the continued encouragement of economic development that disenfranchises the East Side and at making excuses for it, such as, oh, they won't like us or they won't come at all. If we want the entire city to grow, then we must make a concerted effort to make sure that the entire city grows, not just one or two parts of it. Now I will read the letter that is written by someone else who is not able to be here. This was written to Alderwoman Purchase. I am writing on behalf of the Ward 5 resident who does not speak English. Through projects that the Springfield Immigrant Advocacy Network organizes, I have met Ms. Malin Batista, a legal permanent resident originally from Cuba, whose 3 U.S. citizen children live with her on Mason Street. Ms. Batista is a single mom whose youngest son, 14-year-old David, was stabbed several times on the street last month. Ms. Batista stated that on 6/15/24, after going to play basketball at Comer Cox Park with 3 friends, David and his peers were assaulted by other kids. David was stabbed 3 times in his back and once in an elbow. Police arrived at the scene and David, along with another teenager, was transported to St. John's Hospital Emergency Department. The hospital released David to his mom after stabilizing him, and the family left St. John's at around 4:30 a.m. the next day. It has been a month since the assault, and Ms. Batista has never been contacted by the police. Ms. Batista has never been able to ask questions or receive answers, and she believes that police refuse to speak with her because she does not speak English. Ms. Batista explained that the only time the Springfield Police Department has said anything to her was at the hospital, where a police officer spoke to her without a Spanish-speaking interpreter, and Ms. Batista could not understand what the officer was saying to her. Ms. Batista gathered later at the ER that the officer was saying that her son was stable. It is hard to believe that in the capital city of Illinois, the police department will not contact the mother of a child stabbed in the streets simply because she speaks Spanish. For several months prior to this incident, Cyan had been in conversations with the court systems and the Springfield Coalition on Dismantling Racism to, number one, make sure that interpreters are provided during court procedures, and number two, make sure that the police department is held accountable and doesn't simply ignore our neighbors because they don't speak English. This is not only a matter of solving a crime, but it is also a matter of equity and accessibility. We believe that protocols around the investigation must include providing interpreting services to a parent. A police liaison should also be providing information on counseling services and/or crime victim support systems, as this traumatizing incident will affect the health of a child and that of her family for years. Police should be as invested as we citizens are in building trusting relationships within our immigrant communities and with people of color that live and work in Springfield. Ignoring a parent and communicating with them in a language they cannot understand is the opposite of progress when it comes to better relationships with our neighbors. These are the 5 suggestions we propose for the Springfield Police Department to correct the situation the Batista family experiences. Number 1, contact the mother or guardian. Regardless of language barriers, the police should make every effort to contact the child's mother or guardian. If there are difficulties communicating due to language differences, then they should use interpretation services or seek assistance from a bilingual officer or community member. Number 2, offer language access services. The police should have access to interpreters or language services to facilitate communication with persons who do not speak English. Police should make these resources available to ensure effective communication with the mother. Number 3, conduct a thorough investigation. The police should conduct a comprehensive investigation into the incident, gathering evidence, interviewing witnesses, and collecting any relevant information to determine what happened and who is responsible. Number 4, keep the mother informed. The police should keep the mother updated on the progress of the investigation, providing information about any arrests made, court proceedings, or other relevant developments. Number 5, provide support and resources. Police should offer support and connect the mother with appropriate resources such as victim services, counseling, or legal assistance to help her to navigate the aftermath of the incidents. Thank you for your time. We appreciate anything you can do to support this child and his mother during this difficult time. Sincerely, Ms. Veronica Espina, Springfield Immigrant Advocacy Network President. Thank you.
Ms. Purchase, or
Thank you.
Alderwoman Purchase, sorry.
It's okay. Thank you, Madam Mayor. I did speak with Assistant Chief Muma, and he is going to have someone to contact the family. I'm sending a letter and just received the revised letter right before we got here, and Dr. Lisa asked me could she come up to speak on it. So thank you for allowing her to, and I informed our police department too as well.
And Dr. Johnson, it sounds like you have a connection with the advocacy network that did this. Just have them call the mayor's office, 789-2200. We have a Spanish-speaking person there, unless she's at lunch or at break, and they can talk to her anytime.
Thank you.
Yes.
Motion to adjourn?
We have a motion to adjourn. Do I get a second? All in favor, aye. Opposed, nay. Ayes have it.
How you doing?
Oh, sorry.
They're not going to last.
I remember my bobblehead.
This is DNR's. This is DNR's.
Talking like that,
We were all on the same team. Right, yeah, there's that, exactly. We are all on the same team.